But I think the development of full artificial intelligence will spell the end of the human race.
It's a flying object, and we don't know what it is. I would hope somebody's checking it out.
I don't know whether rockets or whatever, but incredibly fast, almost direction. It was too fast to be an airplane.
I'm glad the Pentagon is looking at this, because if it poses a threat, I want them on top of it.
Well, the craft generates its own gravitational field.
You said there's lights in the sky?
The internet has become the command center for criminals and terrorists.
911, what's your emergency? I need help, please help me!
Aliens won't let it happen. That's what we're instructed to say.
Roswell, Area 51. Alien kept deep under the ground.
1, is self-serving. You're here for a reason. You're listening to Troubled Minds Radio.
Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest into the digital darkness.
All right, good evening and welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and hello to all of you who may also have troubled minds. This is a show where we get together and talk about all the things we're not allowed to talk about. You know what they are. Aliens, conspiracy, the paranormal, the government, academia, the 24-hour news cycle, propaganda, and the general feeling that we live in the upside down. Of course, we do this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific, and we stream on YouTube, Rockfin, DLive, and Twitter, and of course, we're broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. And as always, as part of the transparency process, we're taking your phone calls if you want to be part of this conversation. You are the secret weapon of Troubled Minds. If you're out there listening, this is less of a show, more of a conversation, and I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. And as we go through some of the topics we delve into here, we range far and wide and just consider what the future may look like by sort of envisioning, what's to come. Again, we're not... No Mike Stradamus here or anything like that. No actually telling the future. But I think if you pay close enough attention to what's happening in the present and in the past, you can have maybe a better idea of what happens in the future. So we're not trying to actually tell the future here or anything like that, but I think these conversations need to be had anyway. And so that's what this show's really about, all of that. And of course, the biggest thing is just that we can have a conversation with each other and we can agree or disagree or anywhere in between and still get along tomorrow. I think that's one of the most important things about this show, about the premise of what this is about, because the entire mainstream media swears that's not the case. They are just as happy busting up families and best friends and, whatever connections you may have had in the past over some BS political dogma. And it just seems unfortunate to me. It seems that, the conversations that are happening between, at least on the political scale, at least on, this division politics and all the rest of the stuff, it seems to me that it's unnecessary. That it's clearly it's all part of the scam. It's all part of the game. They want us to hate each other. other, because if we're too busy hating each other, we don't realize what or at least we don't unify in that the government at large is doing a crummy job. And there's the conspiracy. And it's an open conspiracy. You don't even have to dig that hard or that deep to find the answer, but it's true. It's true. You look at the actual approval rating of Congress is always at like an all-time low. It's like at 11% or something, and like it's inching down every single week because, well, they don't do a damn thing right, and that's for sure. So if we can all agree on that, things may change, right? But we can't if we're always bickering about the color of our skin or our socioeconomics or you name it, whatever's going on. They're going to try and divide us, and well, I think that we don't have to do that. I think we're smarter than that, and we don't have to play into that. So that's one of the biggest things. Like I said, it is a two-way conversation here. But what I like you to do is just be cool, just be chill, just be nice, and we can agree or disagree or not, and still be friends tomorrow. I truly believe that. So okay, if you want to be part of the show, then that's my long-winded way of saying we have a phone number. The phone number is this. 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. You can find the Discord link at troubledminds.org. Discord is a chat client. It's a voice client, and you can, it's free. That's the best part. Like I said, we're not sponsored by Discord. We just talk about it a lot because it's an amazing program, and we spend a lot of time after the show as well, just kind of chopping it up, talking to each other, kicking ideas around on Discord. So if you're not part of that community yet, troubledminds.org, click the Discord link. It will give you a direct invite. It's completely free. You can share links, you can share photographs, you can share ideas, you can meet new people in there, and it's turning into the Troubled Minds Social Club, which is fantastic. So also we have another Discord room running for the Fringe FM. So if you haven't joined that yet, please do. Fringe.fm/chat will give you a direct invite. And of course, the easiest way for you to listen to Troubled Minds is to just download the Fringe app. Go to the App Store, the Android. It's available wherever you get your apps from, of course, mobile devices. And there we go. I think that sums up everything that we're doing tonight. And so it brings us to the topic at hand. Now, last night, if you guys were listening, we had Jennifer on the show. Hello, Jennifer. I see you out there. And we talked about some amazing things, including what the CIA was up to, talking about some MK Ultra, MK Offen, the Black Sorcerer of the CIA in the name of Sidney Gottlieb. But, right, it got me thinking in terms of, we were sort of speculating last night if they were working on those types of things back in, let's say, as early as 1950 and all the way through the 50s and 60s and 70s, doing all kinds of horrific things to further, well, brainwashing, okay, to further that whole Manchurian candidate sort of effect, to sway the population of where we're headed, right, with all the rest of these things, whether it be through trauma or psychotropic drugs or a combination. And of course, we were talking about like actual voice to skull technology that they were discussing back then, being able to control airplanes with your mind, things like this, like all kinds of like just ridiculous stuff that the CIA was into with MK Ultra, including, well, the remote viewing and all the rest of that, right? Where it was literally about some sort of sorcery or something. That's what it seemed like. It was less about technology and more about like tapping into the dark arts, which seems let's say suspicious. Let's say it seems troubling, disturbing. So anyway, so it got me thinking, right? Okay, so if that's the case, if they were working on that stuff back as early as the 50s, 60s, 70s, and they've kind of run the gamut of what they could do or not do with penetrating just our brains, control, all this other stuff, right? That full spectrum control. There's that term again. It keeps popping up here and there. If they were doing that then, it got me thinking about what kind of things are available now for specifically implants. All right. Like if this stuff is really happening, like we talk about Elon Musk and we talk about Neuralink and we talk about, things like this, which are sort of on the horizon. They're coming. They've put the Neuralink implants in the pigs, and you guys probably saw that demo on YouTube where they, talked about all that stuff, right? The three little piggies and whatnot. And one, the whole experiment. One had an implant in, one never had an implant, and one had an implant that was in and was removed. And they were watching the behaviors of these pigs, all right, as part of this Neuralink demo. And they were trying to prove that these pigs are just as happy whether they have the device or not, or whether it's been removed or not. So they're trying to describe to us how safe this was. If you haven't seen that, I recommend you check that out. It's on YouTube, of course. You guys can look it up. But it's old news now, so it's like probably close to a year old. But that's the thing, right? So that's on the horizon. They're doing this with pigs and certain animals and trying to, of course, measure the brain waves, measure the energy inside the brain. And so, of course, that's the one we know about. We know about Neuralink. It gets talked about quite often, not just in conspiracy circles, but in technology circles. About they're talking about how it could possibly be able to fix people that are paralyzed, and it's got some medical uses. Maybe people that are blind, it's able to fire up something that's missing in there that can reconnect some of those electronic communications that are happening inside the brain and inside the body. So it got me. So with that, like I said, we're not talking about Neuralink in particular tonight. It got me thinking in terms of what this looks like for the future and how close is it to more of a consumer type product. And, well, as luck would have it, this article came out today, and let's take a look at this. This is from darkreading.com, darkreading.com, if you can believe that. It sounds dark. And the headline here is this: are you planning for the quantum transhumanist threat? Yeah, that seems well dark. That seems like dark reading. I'll give it that 100%. But it's very much in line with exactly what I was thinking. And sorry, we got the dog misbehaving over here. But so what I was thinking is this really happening? And how quickly is it happening? Again, Neuralink is one thing, but what about other like wearable devices or even implants in the human body? We've talked about this a little bit in the past, but is it here? Is it now? Can you like fire up your interwebs, your browser, and go on and buy yourself some implants and install them? Well, hopefully with some professional help. Can you do that today? Right? That's the question. So for a couple questions tonight. How close do you think we are to actually that transhumanist future? That's the question. That's number one. Number two, which I'll get to that and answer some of those questions, by the way, but how close do you think we are? Number two, if people start getting implants and everybody's got them, becomes ubiquitous and everybody has an implant, are you going to get an implant? Are you going to be an early adopter? Are you going to go kicking and screaming? Or are you going to say, hell no, I won't go? And that's what I want to know, is if this is the future, and it seems to be racing quickly toward us, the way technology is changing, evolving, adapting, all these things, are you going to be an early adopter or somewhere in between? You tell me. Any of the rest of that, and that's what's on my mind tonight. And then, of course, what are the implications? What does this look like in the future? In, let's say, 5 years from now, maybe 10 years from now, maybe 15 years from now? You tell me. That's what's on my mind tonight. And so, again, thanks again to Jennifer for spawning a fantastic conversation last night with some amazing things. Back to the CIA. I learned some things from about M.K. Offen. I never heard of that, with the black sorcerer of the CIA. I didn't know there was a ringleader that actually had a name and a face, and it's real. That is real. And so that's what we're talking about tonight. That's what we're considering. So love to hear your thoughts on this. 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. You can be part of the show by dialing that phone number. And also, you know what to do. Just give us, click the Discord link, troubledminds.org. Click the Discord link, hop into the Discord, come in here and say hi. Okay, so that's what we're doing tonight. That's what's on my mind. And let's read some of this article, and you'll see why I have a troubled mind tonight anyway. Breaking encryption in a day and hacking without visible devices are two threats that could become a reality in the next decade and beyond, experts say. This is written by an individual by the name of Robert Lemos, and this is again from darkreading.com. And it starts like this: companies should start preparing, or at least planning, for likely threats of the future, including quantum computers that can decrypt current encryption in less than a day, and humans who hack using implanted devices, said speakers at the Sector Security Conference. Nations and large companies alike are investing billions of dollars in quantum computing. While the technology promises to allow uncrackable communications, it also poses a likely threat to current digital infrastructure based on the latest encryption. Symmetric key encryption, for example, could be cracked more easily using quantum computing, but it can be scaled up to larger key sizes to foil efforts. Public key encryption, however, will almost certainly be broken by quantum computers in the future, which we always talk about hacks on this show. And of course, that if you can build it, you can hack it. And here we go. So we'll see what happens when they even get to the point where they're using quantum entanglement as the new security feature. Let's see if you can hack that, right? So we'll see. Well, the future is definitely going to be an interesting place. And of course, well, that's what brings us to the troubled mind. But anyway, this continues, right? So such attacks will not be seen for at least 5 years, according to the author here, and likely not a decade either, but they could pose a threat in 20 to 30 years, said Michelle Mosca, CEO of Evolution Q, at last week's Sector. About 83% of quantum computing experts currently experimenting with the technology believe that breaking RSA-2048 encryption in less than 24 hours is a challenge that will not be solved in a decade, but the same percentage believe the milestone will be reached in less than 30 years. Okay, so there you go. There's some of the answers from experts that were at this Sector conference, and that's what they think. Well, what do you think? And as usual, right, it kind of gets us thinking in terms of DARPA and what's really happening with the governments of the world. We have China, of course, on the move with their quantum computing, challenging Google for quantum supremacy currently. And as the years go by, this is going to become more and more of a thing. So that's just one part of this, all right, just the quantum computing bit. But that's not really what's on my mind tonight. It's interesting this article is kind of pointing us out there and starting with that, the whole quantum computing bit, which is a fascinating topic. We'll get into that at some point in the future as well, because there's a lot to it. Quantum computers are gigantic at this point. I was reading today, a brother-in-law of mine we were chatting a little bit before the show, and he said the smallest quantum computer is about the size of a shower. The size of a shower. You can't get it any smaller than that. So it's not like we're going to be able to install quantum computers in people's wrist, in a wristband sort of situation. So that's quite a ways away. But in any case, let's continue with this. And this will get us to the wearable devices, and not just that, possibly implants, and how close you think that is. And you may be surprised. You may be surprised how close implants are to being a thing. And of course, right, being the conspiracy show and a conspiracy-minded individual, just 2 years ago, it seemed ridiculous that we would have to show papers to eat at a restaurant. Well, welcome to the future, because when we mentioned that 2 years ago, everybody said we were insane, right? The detractors were like, "Come on, this is ridiculous! Like, no way!" But the last couple years with the old pandemic has really pushed the conspiracy theory into conspiracy fact, and that's yeah. So meaning, and the reason I'm saying this is at some point, right, in California, for real, I've had, I don't spend a lot of time there, but I have a family member that tried to go eat in a restaurant and didn't have their papers, and so they weren't allowed in the restaurant. They had to eat outside. They had to, somebody could order their food and bring it out, but they couldn't eat inside. So literally, papers, please, okay? And so it seems ridiculous to say that 2 years ago, and yet here we are. Papers, please. Okay, well, imagine a future then, where if we said, so 2 years ago we said, papers, please. This is where we're headed. This is ridiculous. And people said we were ridiculous for even suggesting that would ever be in the future. And yet here we are. Not even 2 years later, it's ridiculous. Then, all right, imagine a future where wearable devices are that requirement. Imagine if you can't be tracked, if you don't have an RFID device in the web of your thumb or whatever's going on with this, and whatever the new thing happens to be. Imagine we've already created. We clearly now have a 2-tier society, 3-tier, 4-tier, however you want to argue it. Right? We got the elites, we got everybody else. All right, but then we have this thing with not just this quantum computing thing. Now we have this COVID thing. All right. Now, with that in particular, we have a second tier, a third tier of people. We have the persons with this and the persons with that. Okay. And I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to get too deep into that because it's really the elephant in the room. And we all know this. This is nothing new. But, right, if in 2 simple years we have this situation develop as it did, do you think it's possible that in the next 2 years or 3 years or 4 years, let's say if we have some sort of, national health emergency, let's call it, just for giggles. We'll call it that, where something happens and we have to have this second, right? We've talked about contact tracing and the rest of this. So imagine if instead you're not required to carry your cell phone around, which again, we aren't there yet, but instead they're like, for your convenience and your safety, we're just going to go boop and put a little thing inside you. And that way, even if you leave your cell phone at home, you're fine. We can contact trace you and make sure that we can alert you just in case, for your safety. Anyway, is that coming? So let's read this and keep on trucking. And this is what got me on this tonight, and you'll see. Here we go. Long-winded way of getting to this. Let's see. Len Noe, N-O-E, maybe Noe, a white hat hacker for CyberArk and biohacker, has turned himself, as he likes to say, into the attack vector. Noe told Sector attendees that he has already implanted the next chip, a rod-like receiver for a near-field communication and radio frequency identification signals, which would be NFC and RFID, as well as its big brother, the 41-millimeter disc-shaped Flexed Next, which performs at longer ranges. An implanted Flex EM device, which allows the emulation and cloning of various RF protocols, and the Viviki Spark 2 cryptobionic implant for strong cryptography. I can't say it. Cryptography are some of the other devices Noe has implanted in his hands, right? And luckily, they have links to these devices. And I was like, okay, wait, so does that mean you can get these things? And yep, sure enough, there's a website called Dangerous Things. And here you go. You can buy these things, and the price range here for the next RFID plus NFC chip implant is anywhere from $89.99 to $212.83. $212. So there it is right there. I've got the links down below if you guys want to check this stuff out. But I was a little bit surprised that it was so easily accessible already, and that this guy was like proudly wearing it at this hacker conference or whatever was going on. It's like, oh, all right, I guess this is it. this welcome to the future. And right, it's so at some point clearly they're talking about all kinds of crazy stuff with this, including the devices can be used for hacking access entry systems, cloning access cards, and other attacks, he said. Businesses and employees will have to be wary of such devices in the future and should start adding such technology to their threat models. All right, well, here we are. That brings us to where we are tonight. As this develops, as this becomes the next thing, are you going to be an early adopter? And where do you think we will be in 5 years, 10 years? And do you think this will be a requirement at some point in our lifetime? And that's what's on my mind tonight. And, like we were, again, describing the old papers, please situation 2 years ago, that this is where this is headed. And people laughed at us then. So, go ahead and laugh now. But do you think it's possible, let's say in the next 5 or 10 years, where there's some sort of national security threat that requires people to be tracked 24 hours a day, and not through their smartphone, but of course through an implanted device? And how does this make you feel? I don't know. I don't have the answers. As you know, I'm just a questions guy, but we're going to keep asking those questions, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you want to be part of the show tonight, what about implantable devices, wearable devices that go inside of your skin? Is this cool? Are you into this? Do you think this is going to be required in the near future? 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. Don't go anywhere. More RFID chips and your future after the break. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and we are streaming on Rockfin, YouTube, DLive, and Twitter, and we are broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. And we're taking your phone calls as we think about and discuss not just wearable technology for the future, but what about implants? How close do you think this is? Are these things available now? How safe is this? And do you think at some point in the near future we will be required to wear these things? I know there are some places already for the the pandemic that you were required to check in with a telephone, right? You scan the barcode when you come in so they can contact trace you to make sure that you know if you've come in close contact with anybody that has, the thing. I'm not going to say the thing because you say the thing, it trips the algorithms and they come with the fact checkers and all the rest of this, right? The phony fact checkers, it's amazing. But so I'm not going to say the thing, but you know the thing. We all know the thing. But so this is happening. This is happening now. And so I was looking at some of this, and if you can believe this, this stuff is actually available, which we'll get to in just a sec after I read this phone number, because I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you want to be part of the show tonight, 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. And like I said, don't worry about the fire. If you guys are seeing the fire on the stream, it's just a simulated fire, and it's not as warm as it looks. So, all right. So that's what we're doing tonight. We're talking about these implantable things, all right? RFID chips, and it's happening with pets, right? Like my little pet here is chipped. She's a little monster. She's not a great dog. She's a bad dog, but she's learning how to be a good dog because she's a puppy, right? That's the way it works. And she's got a little chip because that's what they do, right? The vets, they go book, they put the thing in. Now, she runs away, they'll be able to trace her back and say, this dog belongs to Michael Strange. All right, but what happens when we have a runaway person? What happens, I don't know, when let's say you can't remember who you are. Well, at least they'll have the chip to trace you back, right? To put you back where you belong. So anyway, of course, I'm making jokes here, bad jokes. But what do you think? How close is this? And if this is going to be one of those things that happens, let's say in the next 5 years, 10 years, that type of thing, are you going to be an early adopter? Will you put these chips inside of your body? And as a result of that, well, to what end? Do you think this will gain you an advantage? And of course, right, imagine what the future looks like if this has to be something required for work, which is, again, what's in the zeitgeist right this minute, because that's what's happening now. That's what's happening now, right? People they're coming up against these moral issues. They're like, no, I don't want that. I don't want that. And their work is like, well, you have to have that. Otherwise, you can't work here. And so people are like, later, I'm out of here. And that's what's happening now. So I think in similar fashion, I think there's going to be something that happens here in the near future if this becomes a requirement for work. And we'll see. We'll see. Some people think this is a pipe dream and this will never happen. Well, like I said, if you go back 2 years ago, we were talking about your papers, please. And, it seemed ridiculous then. But look what's happening now. Papers, please. And it's a thing. So it depends on where you go, of course. It's not ubiquitous yet, but we'll see. We'll see. Cross your fingers it doesn't come to that. But so anyway, so let's go back to these. There's this website called, dangerousthings.com. All right, dangerous things. And there's these implants here, and which seem, well, I guess it seems fine. I guess this is fine. This is fine. Here we go. Anyway, this is called the Next. They're calling this the Next. NEXT. It's an RFID plus NFC chip implant. And you could buy it right now off of their website. You get the standard kit, the Next Plus Access kit, the Next Plus Prox Mark III Easy Kit or the Next Plus Access Kit Pro Mark III Easy, of course, right? Anywhere ranging from $89 to about $213. But there's some interesting things here. Here, what comes in these kits? The sterile injector assembly preloaded with the Next dual chimp implant, 2 single-use ChloraPrep antiseptic wipes. Now it seems like this stuff it seems a little ridiculous in that I'm imagining some sci-fi movie where you go to like this back alley and you're like whispering in the dark and you're I want the implant, the one with the it does the thing, right? And they're like, they're illegal, right? They're not available to the public yet because they're illegal, right? And only the government's using these things. You go into this dark alley and you're whispering, and they're like, okay, yeah, let's implant you with this thing. Here's the cash, and then they bam, the antiseptic wipe, and they pop it into you, and they're like, okay, go. It's going to be swollen for about a couple hours, but just take one of these pills, that'll make everything just right. It kind of gives me that vibe, a little bit of the seedy back alley vibe. You can order this thing and you got the antiseptic wipes and pow, you can just install it right into yourself right then and there. Well, I don't know. You guys into that? Yeah, there you go. Back room of a tattoo parlor. Exactly, right? What's up, Matt? All right, so that's what I'm talking about tonight. I don't know. What do you guys think? How close is this? And will you be an early adopter, or is it going to be, hell no, I won't go? Love to hear what you think. 702-957-1037. Let's go to our good buddy, Jay Winch. What's up, Jay Winch? Welcome to Troubled Minds.
What's up, Jay Winch?
What's up, brother? How are you tonight?
Oh, so Bob calling in, and the subject is fire, and of course you're wearing fire in the background. So the implantable chip. There's been videos out there, and somebody has already bought one of those chips from that website and program that chip to unlock her front door, her house, start up her TV. You can do the same thing with your cell phone now. She just put the chip in her hand and programmed it through her computer. But have you heard of the other dangerous thing that's also really cheap? It's called the CRISPR.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, where you can splice DNA with supposedly animals. Well, there's a guy that's been doing that to himself, splicing his own DNA with a CRISPR kit, and it's actually working. But I'm also going to go off that. I had mentioned something about 24 chromosomes. Humans have 23, correct? Humans have 23 chromosomes, which makes 46 connections, but dogs have 24, plant life, all these different things have 24 chromosomes. Back prior to the flood, everybody can agree, pre-flood, every single religion, nationality talked about people living for hundreds to thousands of years. Well, one of the things that humans lost when we lost our 24th chromosome was the ability of long life and also the ability to communicate telepathically, and that gets back into the I forget what it's called, something files that people tap into, like
the Akashic record.
Yes, those. Yes, that's something we lost when we lost our 24th chromosome, and you can tie that back into Hollywood showing everything like The Simpsons does and 9/11, everything, and you can go to a movie with The Rock where they were on Mars and they injected themselves with the 24th chromosome that either gave them superpower and they became super evil, or they had superpower and they became super friendly and docile and would help everybody else. Okay. So I feel as though they're trying to control unlocking what was taken from us before the flood.
Okay, with these technologies and with CRISPR and being able to change these things and change what humans are for the future here. So do you think that's possible? Do you think it's possible to unlock something from the past like that, not only genetically but with technology as well?
Well, yeah. I mean, even Elon Musk. Some people hate him, some people love him. And he said one of the things we have to do is get a group of people that can link in with this technology and be able to fight it from coming back and taking over with the technology we link to. I.e., you Google search, I don't know, like something about a bigger TV, and then all of a sudden your Facebook, your Twitter feeds, anything and everything's got ads for a big TV. Well, we have to be able to fight that algorithm somehow, some way.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure you've done it before. You were talking to me like, some random thing. I'm looking to paint my house, or you go buy paint, and then the next thing you know, for the next 4 to 5 days, you're getting ads and nothing about paint,
right?
Or home improvement stuff,
right? Yeah.
So
the surveillance state is definitely clicked into all that. And so I think that's part of this too, is that if you start talking in terms of like these implants, it's not just trackable, it's also, right, like we're talking about, it's creepy now how they're listening to pretty much everything we say through our cell phones. They call them stems, by the way. If it's listening to let's say Siri, or let's say okay, the G word, I'm not going to say it because when you do, you trigger that for everybody out there listening. But when you do those things, right, it means it's always listening. It's always listening. And so they say that the stems...
those technologies actually have a hidden thing in there. So those technologies like, hey, Ralph, play this song for me. Well, if the grid down scenario they keep warning us about, they have Bluetooth technology, and even if there's no internet, Bluetooth technology to connect to one another with no internet.
Exactly.
Every single one of those, hey, Rick, play this song for me, has that Bluetooth in it. Your smart washers and dryers have that Bluetooth technology. Your TV with Bluetooth has that technology. Your cell phone, all of it. And that, hey, Rick, hey, Roger, play this song. There's actually reports out there where they're communicating while we're sleeping back and forth. You ever wake up in the middle of the night and your phone like blinks or something like that? Or it's like, why is my phone acting like it's awake?
Yeah. Or your Xbox turns on by itself in the middle of the night. It's merely updating, my friend. It's only updating. Nothing to worry about.
Yeah, it's supposedly. So nothing to worry about. It's only updating. And I will agree. As much as I hate it coming, the technology to the point where it is right now, like 20 years from now, is a whole different story. Because 20 years ago, we had pagers and a Nokia or a brick phone. Now we can chat with anybody in the world in a split second. So imagine the technology they have. It's 20 to 40 years ahead of us.
Yeah, and so is it in terms of telepathy? Is that where this is headed? Right. So imagine if you have this implant you put in yourself, and you're able to communicate via Bluetooth to other people without any other device on you at all. Like this becomes that transhumanist future. That becomes possibly, right, if you can now take that Bluetooth signal and tap it into your thoughts somehow and just send your thought across to your friend or your family member, your spouse, whatever, right? Like whatever's going on, like you can just literally just send it over. You think that's what this is about?
Well, yeah, but at the same time, it's hackable. If you can't control that implant that's inside of you, that's where I was getting on with the Elon Musk thing, where Neuralink is a double-edged sword. Either you learn how to control it and keep people from being able to hack it. Sort of like, for instance, let's go to Resident Evil. Remember how in Resident Evil they put a chip in her head, and she fried that chip and fried the satellites and was able to come back at it? I honestly think that's where we're going.
Okay, it's happening.
Because I'm sure everybody that listens to this show has seen Resident Evil and seen where, I think it was 2 or 3, where she had a chip put in her head and they could control her, but she thought she could control herself. And then finally she woke up and realized what was going on. and she basically shut down just like Terminator did in many of the movies where he shut down. He didn't want to kill the great savior against AI.
I see. I've never seen it myself, but that's okay.
John Connor. You haven't seen
John
Terminator
Connor.
with John Connor?
Yeah, Terminator, not Resident Evil.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway.
Yeah, you never saw Resident Evil? Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
But
that's fine.
It's Hollywood is always showing what's going to happen. That's the reason Simpsons is always right.
Yeah, like they're setting us up for it, right?
The cough virus from the Middle East. I mean, but you know what I'm talking about. Like They predicted that. They predicted Trump. Like they even had it. Like there was something, Trump was coming down an Escalade in the cartoon, and the Trump sign fell. And then it happened in real life. It's predictive programming. They're showing us what's going to happen before it happens. So when it does happen, it's not a culture shock. That's the reason they're releasing, all of a sudden there's these aliens and there's these people with higher technology than us. It's predictive programming. And that ties into MK Ultra, and it ties into the CIA, and it ties into Operation High Jump and everything else. They're showing us before it happens so it doesn't become a shock.
Yeah. So the question here is how close do you think this is? Like I wasn't aware you could just go to a website and buy this and then just inject it into yourself when it arrives in the mail. But apparently you can.
How close?
Yeah. How close?
There was a monkey 20 years ago playing Pong wirelessly.
Right. With the brain.
Put that on numbers. A monkey was playing Pong on the Atari wirelessly with a chip put in its head. And I'm talking a monkey. Chimpanzees, they learn sign language, this, that, and the other, but they don't produce the technology we put in their head. But it was playing Pong wirelessly. And actually, it was damn good. And this was 20 years ago. So if they could do that 20 years ago, imagine if they were to put that in the mind of somebody, I don't know, a Sheldon from, a super smart kid.
Big Bang Theory.
Implanted with that technology that has access to the internet.
Yeah.
What could that kid do? That was 20 years ago with a chip.
Yeah.
Put that chip in your head today. What could you do with that?
Well, I could probably run a better radio show.
You'd be rich. You'd be rich.
Right. Probably.
And you would own all kinds of land. And you'd probably go off grid and get back in your bunker.
Back in the bunker.
Portion of your little show that you're showing, your little bunker.
Right. All right. So Jay Winch, we got to go, man. We got a call behind you. And, we're running out of time. So it's here. Okay. It's here. It's on the way, right? As always, you're welcome to call back in the third hour if you want to do that. That's what we do that whole third hour. Okay. I appreciate your takes on this, and this is exactly why we do this, so we can talk about this and bounce ideas around. And I appreciate the phone call. You're the best, my friend.
All right, talk to you later.
Thanks a lot. Have a great night. That's Jay Winch in Texas, and we're still taking your phone calls if you want to be part of this. What are your thoughts? Do you really believe that this is a thing happening that we should be aware of? And not only that, how close is this? Like I said, I was a little surprised to find that you could order implants right now off of a website called, wouldn't you know it, Dangerous Things. And and then you could inject it right into yourself, and boom, installation complete. You are now an official transhuman. So, is this something to be concerned about? What is this all about? What does the future look like? Are you going to be an early adopter? And are you also surprised that you're able to buy this stuff right now as we speak and, have the installation kit shipped right to your door? All right, 702-957-1037. What are your thoughts? Let's go to Joseph in Iowa. What's up, Joseph? How are you, my friend? Welcome to the show.
Hey, I'm all right.
Right on.
So I was thinking, if they were to make a robot that was to wake up like a consciousness and connect to the consciousness, maybe it would be creating reality as it is right now, rendering it.
Okay, wait, so...
And that's basically...
Okay, explain. Please explain.
That's basically it. Like, so I actually forgot what I was even going to call for, like my original thought.
Okay, that's fine. So let me ask you a question then. So we're talking about implants here, and we're talking about what the future brings. Like again, back to just the 2 years ago, people thought it was absurd for us by bringing up the fact that you'd have to show your papers to eat at a restaurant type of thing. But it's happening. So if this is the case with maybe wearables or implantable devices in the future, electronic devices, do you think we have a future coming up in the next 5 to 10 years where this stuff may be required to maybe work, to travel, to do all the things that we're seeing now? Do you think this is a possibility, and what's on the way with this?
I wouldn't be surprised if they pushed it. Like if you start seeing more, like, I mean, we already got like Travis Scott concert, like people getting supposedly, that's a conspiracy, people getting stuck with needles. But if there is like people out there that are doing stuff that are malicious and evil, then that's gonna help their cause to definitely push that on everyone and track everyone. And it would be good for transhumanism too, because imagine if they had your data, your actual data, like your vitals and your brain waves all recorded and everything.
Yeah.
You could
yep.
You could do something with all that data, and who knows?
Yeah, and at some point, we talked about this last night on the show with Jennifer, that our brain functions as an electrical impulse, right? It sends electrical waves from one area to the other, right? It's how our body moves and all the rest of that. So all you need to do to read thoughts and read minds is be able to decipher those electrical signals. And, well, if you can do that from afar through a device, let's say Bluetooth, then, well, we'll get to that as we go tonight.
I think we can do that already.
You think it's?
I think we have it in us.
Okay.
It's already in us, but it's just not there yet. Like we have a subconscious reading. Like you can see something and then subconsciously look back on it. But if you could just connect that into the moment, like I'm sure some people are very good at doing it. Like you look at like Sherlock Holmes. And that's like I think that's fiction or whatever, but I'm sure there's people out there that are actually in tune with their telepathy and stuff, and they don't really even know it.
I see. So you think we could do it without any kind of device like this? It's built into us as people.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
I think it definitely is.
Fair enough. Okay, so we're running out of time here. So what's your final thought on this? If you got to make a guesstimate on how quickly it's going to happen before we're all required to wear these implants of some sort, you think it's 5 to 10 years? You think it's longer than that?
I wouldn't be able to say. I just want to say I had a dream though that kind of reminds me of an AI. There was like a side winding road that went down a hill to infinity. Like, you know, the roads that they're called like. They go down hills. They go into a snake pattern. So this guy in my dream was running down the hill, ignoring all physics. He just sprinted down the hill to infinity. So, and then I woke up when I realized that the hill was infinite.
To infinity and beyond, my friend. Joseph in Iowa, I appreciate the call. We're out of time. Thank you so much for listening. Thanks so much for participating.
Yeah, man.
You're the best, bro. We'll talk to you soon, okay? Have a great night. There you go. All right, so we're still taking your phone calls, guys. We're going to take a quick break here. If you want to be part of the show, easy as pie, 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. A couple great calls by Jay Winch and Joseph to kick us off. And we're looking to hear from you, talking about this transhumanism. What about these implants? They're actually available right now to order online, which means probably sometime this week you could inject this into yourself. Are you ready for this? This is the future. Well, our brave new world. Here we come. So, one more time, love to hear your thoughts at 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. We got a couple calls on deck. I see you guys there. Hang tight. Be right with you as soon as we come back from the break. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. Don't go anywhere. More implants, transhumanism, the future, and you when we come back. about the alien abduction phenomenon.
The aliens are looking through your eyes and they're accessing your optic nerve. I'm doing that. Through that optic nerve, they're transferring to your brain. People are random images as they traverse neurons in your brain.
Alright, so maybe,
and they also feel them planting.
Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest into the digital darkness.
good evening and welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and hello to all of you who may also have troubled minds. We're doing this live Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific. We're streaming on Rockfin, D-Live, YouTube, and Twitter. And, of course, we're broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. And what is this show, you may ask? You may ask how you found yourself here. And what is this all about? Well, let me tell you. This is a conversation about all the things we're not allowed to talk about, and you know what those things are. Aliens, conspiracy, the paranormal, the government, academia, the 24-hour news cycle, propaganda, and the general feeling that we live in the upside down. As always, we're taking your phone calls if you want to be part of the show. 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. You can also join the Discord at troubledminds.org. Click the Discord link. The phone number is also there. And, of course, you can join the Discord at fringe.fm/chat as well. All right, so tonight, this is what we're talking about. We're talking about this transhumanism, this future, right? And trying to make some predictions. Now, just recently, I stumbled across this. This is a nice website called Dangerous Things. And on this website, right now, currently, you can order RFID and NFC chip implants that you can literally get shipped to your door and, boom, implant this right into your hand tonight. Or, well, not say tonight. Let's say this week. Whenever they ship, right? Whenever it gets to you. And I didn't realize this was so easily accessible now. But apparently this is a thing, and people are doing this. So the whole premise tonight is, what are your thoughts? What are your predictions? Are you going to be an early adopter? Are you excited for this, or does this terrify you? And, of course, if you want to be part of the show, 702-957-1037. Thank you for being patient with us. Robert, let's go to Robert in Pennsylvania. Welcome to the show, my friend. How are you tonight?
Hi, Michael. How are you?
Doing very well. What are your thoughts on these implants?
Well, here's my thought. I'm hearing myself through the phone. Can we stop that?
I can try. I think all my buttons are pressed appropriately, so maybe not. But go right ahead. Sorry about that.
Well, I wouldn't want to press. I wouldn't want to press any more of your buttons. This is easy to figure out. All right. The Great Reset. The final step in the Great Reset is number 5. Is virtual reality. All right. Zuckerberg is in on this, of course. All right. That's why he's jumping the gun real quick and switching from Facebook to Meta. All right. They want us to start off using Meta. All right, with our little gizmos over our eyes and experience virtual reality that way. But the thing is that we can take those off and come back to reality. But once they put the chip, they get locked into the virtual reality world permanently, and we can't shut it off. That's where this is leading to. What do you think?
Yeah, I like it. So not only does it become a headset, it becomes a way to track and communicate through wireless technology, Bluetooth and things like this, to always be connected to that virtual reality. I like it. And so not only that, there are games already out there. You guys seen that Pokemon game on the phone where it's like has Pokemon little critters hidden in the real world, and you chase them around and find them in the park and find them at the museum and find them at school and find them everywhere. Like, this is already happening, just in smaller scales with smartphones. But I like the idea, man. Yeah, meaning you can't unplug.
Yeah, but you see, you can take off. You can put your cell phone away, all right? And I know about you're talking about the Pokemon, and we have an adopted grandkid, and take him out over to the college campus, and he hunts down Pokemons with his phone, all right? I understand that. But you can put the phone away. You can take the VR goggles off your face, all right? You can come back to reality anytime you want to. But once they get you to take and put this chip in your brain that connects you with the internet permanently, then you're permanently connected to virtual reality. And that sends the short hairs on my neck up, because that's exactly what number 5 is in the Great Reset, a virtual reality world, a permanent virtual reality world. And the only way they can accomplish that is to put that chip in the brain, all right? I don't know if they could have the same results if they put it in an arm or whatever, but it's a chip that only they can shut off, whoever they are. All right, we can't shut it off. Once we tick, and they will do outrageous things to convince us to do this, to put this in our brain. They'll convince us that we'll be immortal. They'll convince us. They'll give us money. Whatever they have to do to get us to do it, they'll do it, because they're accelerating what they planned on doing, having accomplished, maybe 20 or 30 years from now. They're pushing hard, accelerating that. They want to get this done within 5 years. And can you imagine the nightmare of living in a virtual world, not being able to ever come back to reality? I mean, that's what they used to put people in mental wards for.
Exactly. And so, and this is part of that whole agenda. I agree with you, meaning that they're doing it now. They've been doing it with the news cycles and the fake news and all the rest of this. But that next step is not allowing you to return to that reality, to whatever reality you choose. Your reality now becomes whatever they choose. And of course, that would be the technocrats, that would be Zuckerberg, that would be Jeff Bezos, that would be Elon Musk, all of those individuals, right? And, you can probably argue which one's better or worse, but I think it's like, pick the devil sort of situation. Pick your favorite devil. Like, I don't want anybody dictating what my actual reality looks like. I want to be able to choose that myself.
Yeah, but you can choose it yourself now. All right? There's all kinds of ways of exploring a virtual reality world. You can choose that, that game, whatever you want. You can choose that. But once you have the chip in, you don't have the choice no more. It's the virtual reality locked to the internet. Who controls the internet? Who controls the VR? Who controls what you're experiencing? You have no control over it. You can't shut it off.
Which is a terrifying prospect. And so I'm going to guess that you're not going to volunteer for this. This is not going to be your thing?
Oh, I won't take the boot poop. No way.
No way. All right. I
know too much about that. I'm not some Trumper. They want to say that we people that won't get the boop boop are all Trumpers, all kind of far rightist Nazis or whatever. I'm a liberal Democrat. I'm practically a socialist, and I won't get it because I do take the time to hear other voices, to see the data they put up and what's going on. So I'm making a confident decision based on what I know. All right, but most people don't check that far. They don't go that far. But if you got all these people, half the country who won't do it, But they're, you can see what it's going to be like if they try this chip. Try to get people to do that. They will have to have such an irresistible bribe to get people to do this. I can only wonder what that possibly could be, and I also have to wonder how out of their own reality are these people that want to do this, to think that most of humanity would go along with it. I mean, and I know, most of humanity would not go along with this. But somehow they think that they're so smart and we're so dumb, all right, that we'll just go along with it. I'm just saying what they've got in what I don't know is why. Why do they want us to live in a permanent virtual reality instead of this reality? Why do they want that? What's their end goal? Because they must get something out of it. So what is that? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it's just basically if you can manipulate people's reality and control it, then you can. It's just more control. It's just a way to control everything. And so if you can do that, and like you said, maybe you're always chasing Pokemon now, right? It becomes part of your future reality because you can't ditch it. Like you said, you can't take it out. And so Pokemon, clearly, everybody knows, are not real. All right. But what happens when they start slipping in things that are real or could be real? You see, you start literally being able to change what people believe about the world is true. And like I said, they're doing it now with news cycles and the rest of this stuff and all of that. But I think it's just another layer of that full spectrum control. I think that's where this is headed, my man. We're going to be seeing Pokemon in our dreams if it was up to them.
Again, why? Why do they want that? And you're saying they want control, but what kind of control? What do they? So they want to play games with us in their heads? I mean, there's got to be something that they really want bad, and it has to be something to do with maybe controlling the worker. I don't know. I just have. That's the part that has me flummoxed. Is I don't know. I can't figure out what's down the line that they specifically want to, with this virtual reality world that they want to implement. What do they want from that? And control. That's one part of the answer. But what kind of control? And for what purpose? Maybe some of your listeners can chime in on here and give this old boy an idea where they think that they're up to.
Okay, we'll add that to the batch of questions tonight. Robert, you were the best. Thank you so much for the phone call. Thank you for listening.
Talk to you later.
Appreciate it.
Bye.
Have a great night. That's Robert. You can find his book. He's an author, and all of his amazing ideas you can see coming from, well, of course, from his fractured mind. Stories from a Fractured Mind. He wrote a book, and you can find the link down below. Give Robert some love. He's been listening to the show for quite a long time, calling in and contributing. Let's go to, we're still taking your phone calls, guys. We're talking about this transhumanism thing. And what about these chips? What's going on with this stuff? Is this what is in the future? And as Robert asked, what do they want to control? If they're able to maybe tie this into, again, Pokemon 24 hours a day and in your dreams and this new reality, this new metaverse, as it's been described by, of course, our good friend Zuckerberg. If that's the case, what kind of control do you think they can actually have? And why? Is it that full spectrum control like we've always talked about? Or is it something different? Is it something worse? Is it something, I don't know, you tell me. So let's go to, we got, thank you for waiting. You guys have been on the phone for quite some time. Let's go to, not sure who this is. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
Oh, I'm sorry, this is HB.
HB, what's happening, my man? Welcome to the show.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you hear me okay? I'm using my Hypergear Sport X2 earbuds. Do they actually come in
loud and clear?
Okay, can you hear me?
Loud and clear. Go right ahead.
All right, great. Hey, it's great to be on your show again. Thank you very much, Michael. Your guests, as usual, are extraordinary individuals. This topic is extraordinary to begin with, and just the simple fact that there are people people here, and I'm pretty sure I would like to say people here in America, but I mean, I'm a bit of an exceptionalist about the United States of America. I would rather kind of expand it in wholeheartedness to say that there are people at all who can comprehend these topics, call in, and expound with such virtue and such knowledgeability on such a regular basis. It's like you're attracting the most genius people on earth, almost as if there's like a coalescence of really sound minds toward singular topics that maybe have an effect upon all of us, wouldn't you say?
Like I said, it's an embarrassment of riches. I agree. The people that call into the show are typically brilliant, and like I always say, 3 times smarter than me. But you know how they always say, right? How do you succeed? Surround yourself with people smarter than yourself. And here we are. So I appreciate that. Thank you. That's very kind of you. So what is your thought on this whole transhumanism future and these implants? What does this look like? What are they trying to control?
Oh, boy. Oh, what are they trying? I don't care what they're trying. I can tell you what they can't do. They can't convince me that they're going to improve my life very much at all with something purely technological and in most aspects and 100% electronic. I have no electronics in my body, all right? I'm just going to put that out there. I don't got electronics in my body. It ain't going to happen. Why would I want it to happen? One of the things we're taught from an early age is don't shock yourself. It's going to cause tissue damage, you know? That's not the way the parents say it. They're just like, don't stick the fork in the outlet. You're going to hurt yourself real bad. And I'm just like, look, why would you crowd yourself up with electronic signals of under control? Here's the thing. Here's where I would draw the line. All these electronic signals from these implants and chips, they're not that different from what we already have going on in our pituitary gland and a lot of other things happening in our bodies. Not that different electronically speaking. But why would you want it to be under a controlled impulse? And it's under these controlled impulses. If you were to look up how Nikola Tesla and it was Edison, that guy Edison, how he went against Nikola Tesla and cheated Nikola Tesla out of his prominence by utilizing wrongfulness, anyways. If you look under frequencies, you'll get down to the fact that in your body there are certain frequencies and certain amplitudes that happen all the time. They happen between your muscles, like a human muscle exerting itself under extreme exertion, under what you would say would be like nominal exertion, where or voluntary exertion, where you're like lifting up a weight. That is one certain amount of amplitude and voltage, you could even say. But then we find that there are these strange occurrences, anomalies, as we call them, where like a person just flips a car over to try to save somebody, and everybody scrambles to try to figure out how did that happen. Well, the amplitude and the voltages were different. All of these electronics, I'm going to tell you, these eggheads have no idea what they're messing around with. They don't, Michael. They have no idea.
Meaning what? Meaning that what they're trying to tap into is something nefarious they can't control, sort of like the Pandora's box of yore? Or No. Slow down, man. Not something nefarious they can't control. You're speaking about the intrinsic nature of the human existence. Why would you lead in with a word like nefarious? Or can't control? You can control yourself, couldn't you? Well, no. Yes, I missed what you said. I thought you were talking about the technology itself. That's I didn't equate.
Yeah.
So I just misunderstood.
Yeah, I see. That's a good. That's a good face-it comparison. Yeah, you're comparing the face-it of what we live through, what we experience. We are human beings. We can control ourselves very well, and we're anything but nefarious.
No, definitely.
Almost any human would what we could summon Jupiter to this and be boisterous and wholesome and be like, yes, everything I want is a gift to every other human being. I am, Santa Claus, right?
Right.
But let's look at what's on the opposite end over here. What are these things that they want to do with all of their methods of dividing things up and portioning things out and trying to minusculize every little zap of voltage, trying to meagerly proportion every single bit to some sort of monumental meaning for people, where we all know the bit is just something they came up with. They thought it up and they hoped we would buy into it. Well, all of this transhumanist stuff that's coming up, the AI especially, is a lot of capital B, period, capital S, period. It's a lot of like pyramid schemes, similar to like a pyramid scheme. It's a bunch of marketing ploy. It's a bunch of people collecting money and not actually having results to demonstrate or deliver. And this has been going on for 30 years, Michael. Let's think back to when Wired first ran articles about gray goop and how nanomachines were going to change everything. And then they wired in chaos theory to it too. Well, chaos theory sure went a weird different direction that a Wired magazine didn't expect it to. And the gray goop never showed up, Mike. We were supposed to have the gray goop by now. Where's my gray goop, Mike? Where's my gray goop dissolving my planet, Mike? I mean, eggheads go and predict things, and that's kind of what eggheads do. And that's kind of why we called them eggheads back in the day,
Yeah, all right. That makes sense. I'm with you. And so I'm guessing you're not a fan of this, and you're not going to put any chip in your body. Am I right?
No chips in my body, Mike, and not having any desire to put any chips in my body. No, that's correct.
Okay. All right. So we got about a minute left. So let's get your final thought on this. I hate to cut you off, but we got to go to a break here. So if you got
I can put it in under. Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go right ahead.
Siphon it down. All right. So I would say, I don't think anybody needs to worry about transhumanism. I think most of transhumanism is marketing, pushing threats on technology that most people don't understand. That's it.
Okay. As always, another marketing pyramid style scheme, and this time it's transhumanism. I appreciate it, my man. HB, you were the best. Like I said, you were part of the embarrassment of riches of Troubled Minds. Thank you so much for sharing your ideas and your thoughts. Thanks for listening, brother.
Sorry.
No, you're good. What are you talking about? Nah, I said thank you. Have a good night, bro. There you go.
Oh, thank you.
Sorry about that. Cut you off. Okay, so thank you for the call, HB. We've got Jennifer on the line. Thank you, Jennifer, for being patient. Got some calls stacked up, so that's what we're doing. If you guys want to be part of this conversation, well, that's why we do it this way. As you can tell, there are, as HB said, there are an unbelievable amount of smart people out there that seem drawn to this type of thing, and this is what this is all about. Let's get together, let's talk, and let's consider what the future may bring. We're talking about transhumanism tonight. We're talking about these chips you can buy and inject into yourself right now. Well, what do you think the next 5 to 10 years will bring? 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. Don't go anywhere. More after the break. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and tonight we are streaming on Rockfin, YouTube, DLive, and Twitter, and of course we're broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. We're taking your phone calls. If you want to be part of the show, 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. You can also join the Discord at troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show that way as well. Discord is a chat client, a voice client, totally free, and come hang out. Lots of cool, smart peeps over there. All right, so what we're talking about tonight is, that's right, these implants. You're able to buy these things now. You can buy them off the interwebs and have them shipped to your doorstep, and then, of course, injected. You inject them yourself. They come with self-installation kits, right? Imagine when it used to be minor surgery. Now it's going to just be called a self-installation kit. Well, that's what we're talking about tonight. And what are your predictions here? What exactly are they trying to control, as Robert asked, and how deep does this go? So once again, if you want to be part of the show, 702-957-1037. Let's go to Jennifer. Jennifer in Missouri. Welcome to the show. Thank you for being patient. How are you tonight?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing very well. I'm guessing you've already ordered your chip and it's on the way. Am I right?
I don't know. There's a storm here right now. I wonder how I would be affected if I was already, hardwired in. It makes you wonder. So even like solar flares and EMPs and things like that, I wonder how would that affect the chip? And then there's like so many things I was thinking of, like if you're injecting this yourself or people are injecting it, I'm sure everybody remembers like the IVF thing where women were getting IVF for birth control, put in their arm or in their uterus, and it would migrate around and cause some problems. And then you have like even women getting natural enhancement, you know what I mean? And then the body rejects it and they have or even like blood infections. I mean, imagine if you had the chip in your head and it starts migrating around over a period of time. That could be disastrous, And then the idea of it, you could get blood infections. What about blood infections and staph infections? Or bacteria that's antibiotic-resistant bacteria. And just the blood infections, things like that, or just allergic reactions and rejections. And then when you think about the CRISPR bit and just the enhancement in general, but with the CRISPR thing, somebody mentioned that. I was thinking, when they edit these babies and take some genes out and turn other ones on, that's forever. Like when those babies grow up and have babies, all the way down the line, those genes are forever, gone because they've taken them out, deleted them. What if those genes that are not working right now were going to be turned on like 5,000 years from now in the human, in the human lineup of what they're planning on doing with the body? What nature is actually doing. Like, what if we're already perfect? And then the idea, perfect for where we need to be right now, and that certain genes will be turned on later. How do we know we're not getting rid of genes that serve some kind of future purpose? Or that a baby born, 4 generations down from a baby who's been edited, we're possibly going to need those genes in the trajectory. And then, if you think about the aging process, the anti-aging things they're offering, they don't understand the aging process. Any scientist will admit that they're not completely understanding the intricacies of the aging process. And so how do we know if they're going to be affecting that? And if they disturb that, what the implications of that could be? And then the idea of immortality. I mean, you're just immortal because you live a long time, just because you won't age. That's instead of having immortality because of your, how you acted in your life, that the memory of you was immortalized. That's something, like Abraham Lincoln and them have been immortalized. They're not living forever, but it's kind of a weird thing on human dignity that you're immortalized simply because you're not aging. And I think that's a problem. And then you have the issue of distribution, like Robert was mentioning. Like you have an issue of aristocratic enhanced class versus the unenhanced masses. And then you have the issue of like a perpetual patient scenario, I feel like. Like you would have to be updated would you have to be constantly getting updates? Would you have to be, replacing chips, or like every so many years? Would you be just a constant patient forever, dependent on these individuals, always updating your data and your information at the mercy of them completely? And then is it possible that, it's beyond, like maybe we already are perfect. Like maybe we've already reached, and it's an inner struggle. Because then when you get into the idea of if we destabilize humanity forever, what happens to, what if they're trying to make us also what they want us to be? How do we know they're not doing that? What if this is all designed to make us how they want us to be? Because we do live in a cultural, it's around the world, you have to be worried about tyrants and tyranny. So how do we know that they wouldn't eventually turn it on its head like that and make us just what they want us to be? And then, like I said, you're at the mercy of them all the time from then on, it would seem like. And if people no longer need willpower, and they no longer need to be creative or intelligent on their own merits, where is the dignity, the human dignity? And where are you going to get that from if you have no need for discernment? You have no need for any of those things. And then you have to consider the naturally gifted, people who are naturally capable, prodigies, things like that. Where does that fit into all this? And then the thing about improving intelligence, because they don't understand actually human intelligence all the way, and the intricacies of it. The people have genius in different ways. What if you're not smarter? What if they take something out that was your genius, and it didn't fit into the paradigm of what genius was when you take into account sympathy or like emotional intelligence, basically, or gut reactions, ESP, things like that. And then, doing this, fiddling also with the genes or the body that's been developed over millions of years, perhaps, and suddenly just upending all of it could wipe out the human race. It could be our undoing. And then the memory bit, enhanced memory, which I know it sounds really good at first, but the brain picks and chooses what it will remember and what it will forget. And not everybody would want to remember some of the things the brain has decided to forget. And if you make yourself, because you can't do it otherwise, remember everything that ever happens to you, I mean, I think we're at our optimum already. And if you are doing this, I mean, also, too, you have to worry about the overload. If the brain is already at its optimum capacity and you put all this information into it, what about the Graham's number and creating like a black hole and stuff like that? They're serious about that the brain could basically like blitz out. It's too much information. I would not, at first, it seems like a great idea. At first, like I'm sold. I'm like, oh, I'm down with this. But then when you really think about it, I don't think it's a good idea. Not for me personally.
I'm with you. Not with me personally either. And you laid out a ton of reasons here why this could be a bad thing. And, as always, right, if you sell something, like I always joke, if you buy an Alexa or whatever, and it's like, oh, well, if you advertise it's spyware, then it's not spyware, is it? It's convenience. Well, this is the same sort of thing, isn't it? It's almost like the poison pill, as it were. And I mean that as a metaphor here. But if it is, like you said, you're at the mercy of somebody else that's controlling whether that Bluetooth signal or the satellite signal or the code changes or gets updated or this, that, the other thing. I'm not ready for that. I'm sorry. I am not going to put any of that into my body just in case, right? We talk about smart homes now.
What
a
about
smart home terrifies me.
Stuff? Exactly.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, just like, with EMPs, which are a real thing that occur from the solar flares, that come through the magnetic field of the earth and everything. What if it wipes, what if that wipes all your data?
Yeah.
I think that Neuralink, they're talking about by 2045, that they can upload the entire brain to a computer and the consciousness will live forever. But that's not really what we're after, is it? I mean, living forever, people want the human spirit, the dignity of the human spirit wants to be immortalized for what it did. And it's going to lose that. I feel like if it could lose that. And then, the human strength and everything by the bionics and everything, or the not natural, but the enhancements, even for athletes. The body has warnings of what its limits are, like a professional swimmer or a professional soldier. And that could be disastrous. Somebody could really, really hurt themselves. I'm sure they could fix it. But like I'm saying, you'd be a perpetual patient forever for updates and for enhancements and the newest this and the newest that. I just think a lot more to it. At first, it's like this great idea: live forever, have enhanced memory, you know, be able to upload your consciousness into the metaverse and go to other places, not confined to the earth, and all these great ideas. But we can do that with our imagination. You know, like the brain can't tell the difference when it's imagining something, really, really into it, imagining something. And then you have to consider the very, like the biological, physiological aspect of it, of the body rejecting, you know, some of this early on. Like they still can't get some women to, you know, like with the IVF and the like breast implants, it doesn't always work out. You know, I mean, people get piercings with surgical steel and it doesn't always work out. The body will push it out. So imagine that being pushed around in your brain. If the brain is, you know, if it, I don't know, or just in the body in general. So I think it's even though I know that I think they are going to do it. I do disagree on that. I do think this is what they are doing and what their plans are. And I think that some people have already had it done at the highest echelons of, you know, on a minor scale that's really safe, or they've checked it out or tested it out or something removable maybe. But I think it's definitely where they're trying to go with it.
Yeah, and again, right, so think about just the past couple of years, like I said, without saying the elephant in the room, right? Look, 2 years ago, we said, papers, please, and, you know, they laughed at us. And it's like, okay, well, it happened. And it only took 2 years. So what's your prediction here on when they're going to try and slam this in as some sort of mandatory thing? You think that's coming, or you think that's a more conspiracy theory? Wink, wink.
Mandatory. I think that, I don't know, because see, they're already trying to make certain things mandatory, and they're already making it, you know, kind of it's got to, so I don't know. I think that if it goes too far, I think it could become something that's mandatory to a certain extent. And if they're generalizing all medicine, it's the only thing provided is gene editing medicine, for example, that's just the new way they're doing it, then in a way, I mean, it's the boat's left without you. So, I mean, you have to kind of just deal with, I mean, eventually it's possible. I would think in our lifetimes, I think we will see like CRISPR type medical procedures going on where they're already doing that. But I mean, like, and openly doing it. You can actually go online and buy gene editing stuff that's supposed to help to shut off certain DNA strands and turn on others and so on and so forth. Your own CRISPRing at home, kind of like this injection thing with the chip. I can't remember what the company's called right now, but they sell it. So, I mean, they're already doing things like that. So, of course, having it done, and the CRISPR babies. Yeah, I think that they're working on it right now and trying to get a way that they're going to mass market it at the hospitals and stuff probably for people who have chronic diseases and things like that. But it'll be for fun, too, eventually. And I think that would come in our lifetime. I don't see why it wouldn't. It's all there. So I think that they will. But that's just what I think. I think they'll be doing it in the next 45 years, within the next 30 to 45 years. I would imagine that it's pretty common at that point.
Gotcha. Okay. Fantastic prediction. Good stuff. Well, we'll keep tabs on that. You're on the clock. Thank you, Jennifer.
Or maybe sooner.
Yeah, maybe sooner. That's fine. We're just throwing out ideas. You're the best. Everybody follow Jennifer. She's got a YouTube channel. Amazing stuff as always. Thank you so much for the call. You're the best. All right. Have a great night. If you want to be part of the show, 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. That's Jennifer. She was on the show last night. And again, if you enjoy, this is what this is all about. Like I say, the embarrassment of riches for this show is you. Like I always say, I don't have any insiders. I don't know anything in particular that you don't know. We're just getting together and having a conversation, and look at all these brilliant people that call in with their ideas. So Jennifer was a co-host last night. She has a YouTube channel. Please follow her. Scroll down. You can find the links in the description. And let's keep on trucking. If you want to be part of the show tonight, we're talking about implants. We're talking about, I didn't know you could literally just buy them and have them shipped to your doorstep and be considering, what are you doing tomorrow, Mike? Well, I'm my chip is arriving and I'm going to install it, as it were, right? I'm going to inject it. And, well, there it is. You can see it right there. This website called dangerousthings.com. They're selling these chips now. And what are they, of course? RFID plus NFC chip implants. And clearly, this is going to be the first step. Like somebody said in the chat, which is completely true, this is nothing compared to Neuralink. well, it is also the first step of where this technology can go. And so, love to hear your thoughts. Are you going to be first in line to get this? Because if so, well, it's available right now. Don't miss out. This too can be yours for the right price of $89.99. And there you go. I'm not actually selling it. I'm just making a joke. All right, so if you guys want to be part of the show, 702-957-1037. Austin, let me know if you're ready, buddy. I typed in the chat. Let me know. We're going to take this phone call, and if you're ready to go, we'll take you in just a minute. Let's go to, let's see who this is. Welcome to the show. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
Jack in Oregon.
Jack in Oregon. What's up, my brother? Welcome to the show. How are you?
Well, I'm just sweating a little bit. Just a little bit I'm sweating.
Okay. For what reason?
Well, I follow your show, on and off, and like yesterday, the show I watched or listened to rather with Jennifer was MK Ultra and that.
Yes, sir.
And now we moved up to this.
Yes, sir. It's gonna get more wild. It's gonna.
I can follow the line of what's going on, and I'm like, whoa, this is heavy followed by heavier.
It seems to be, doesn't it? So what are your thoughts here? I appreciate you listening and like actually being tuned into this because, like actually considering what this may mean for the future. Are you willing to do this? Are you going to order one of these and have these things installed? Or are you in the hell no camp?
It makes my nuts suck up in my nutsack, and
okay, whoa.
Like all scared and shit.
We're on the radio. Please don't curse. No cursing on the radio. Okay, but so that's a no.
None of that was cursing, though. That was
for Radio Land. It is.
No, that was DQ.
Okay. Anyway, let's move on from that. So the answer is no. How come though? What are your concerns here?
Well, my concern is okay. I guess it would be people monitoring things and doing things that are outside of my control, which are not cool. How about that?
Fair enough. 100% fair enough. So like Jennifer was saying, being kind of at the whim of whoever controls this device. And as things change, as things update, as again, being that perpetual medical experiment, basically, I'm with that. Like I am not like, the human body is complex enough as it is with all the things that got to be just right to make a healthy person. Once you start putting that stuff in, man, I'm with you. I say no, thank you. I'm in the no, thank you camp. Okay. So what are your other thoughts on this transhumanism bit and where this leads in the future?
It's like injectables and like tracking you and that kind of thing. Well, it's a no-go. It's a no-go because like people are individuals and they have their own space, and like you can like maybe sell a few extra widgets to somebody by tracking what they're into and stuff. Like my mom likes getting coupons for the store from her local store when she buys more of one thing or another thing. She likes that. But if you're like trying to think about what I plan to do in the future and that kind of thing, and you want to control what I can and can't do before I even start, just forget about it, man. I'm not into it. If you want to do that, you can do that. But I'm a free man on the land.
All right. Fair enough. Right? I'm with you. Yeah, I'm with you. I agree. I don't want, it's hard enough anymore with just the media and the brainwash that they're trying to pull there, that, once you start tampering like on more of a direct level with technology, I agree. This is not a good thing. Definitely not a good thing. You're the best, my friend.
Right.
What else you got? What else you got for us tonight?
One thing I'd like to mention is like, whatever they call it, cognitive dissociation. when you hear a statement that dissociates you and makes you go, what the hell am I thinking about right now? That's not a good statement, you know, and it only leads to fucking trouble.
Hey,
it's like,
all right, come on. I told you.
Confusing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're cursing.
Cognitive dissociation.
Thank you. You're cursing on the radio. I'm going to cut you off here. Thank you. I appreciate the call, Jack. We'll talk to you soon. Okay, there you go. You can't do it. Can't do it, guys. So I appreciate the thoughts, and yeah, good stuff, but please don't. We have a whole third hour where we can drop F-bombs to our heart's delight, but not on the radio. So thank you for the phone call. Appreciate that. All right. So as we wind this down, we are running out of radio time here. So the way this works is we do a couple hours on the radio, which is the first 2 hours from 7 p.m. And then Pacific time. And then after that, we have a third hour where we can kind of let our hair down, no radio commercials and that type of thing. So that's where that language can fly. But just to let you know. So if you hear me say it from time to time, it's because it's in the third hour. So first 2 hours, no go. Third hour, we can do whatever we want, basically. Well, you know, within the guidelines of what the technocrats say we can do. So anyway, as we finish this thought up tonight, the questions, as always, the questions continue. And are you ready? Is this transhumanism thing, is this a threat, as this article describes? And what if it's not? Are you going to order one of these? You're going to wear one of these? Do you think this leads to some other, more sinister place? And that's, as always, kind of what we're looking at with Troubled Minds. We kind of get together and consider all these things. And again, the embarrassment of riches is you're the secret weapon of this show, because it's about getting good people together that have good heads on their shoulders and considering what's actually going on. So there it is. And we're going to keep on trucking with this. So we will have a third hour coming up. If you want to be part of the show, phone number is 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. Let me know if you're ready, Austin. We'll take you in as soon as we go to the third hour here. But that's what's going on. That's what's happening tonight, and that's what's happening most nights on Troubled Minds. We start looking at some of these things and wondering what the future holds, and is this really, well, the next step? And like we said 2 years ago, we were laughed at for saying this is going to be sort of a your papers please sort of situations to travel or to eat or to do this or to do that. Wait till it's bank accounts. Wait till you can't even go in the doctor without your papers please, right? Wait till this stuff comes to pass. And it seems like it's happening. And well, let's say in the next 5 to 10 years, it's going to be possibly mandatory to have something like this. Otherwise, you can't compete with people to get jobs and all the rest of this. So I don't know. I'm not sure. Let's just throw that out there as like my guess, 5 to 10 years, it's going to begin the conversation about people and transhumanism, and you can't compete to get a job or keep a job unless, of course, you have the chip. And there we are. So you tell me. That's the deal. That's what we're doing. And as we finish, we'll be back tomorrow. We'll be back tomorrow night and doing our thing. We do this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific. And of course, if you love the show, spread the word. If you like these conversations, let people know that there's a thing going on out there, and it's called Troubled Minds. And so we'll be back tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Pacific. If you're listening to us on the Fringe FM, stay tuned for Joe Roop, Lighting the Void, and Ryan Gable, The Secret Teachings after that. If you're listening to us on any other platform, including the podcast feed, stay tuned for a third hour of Troubled Minds. And as we finish, be sure, be strong, be true. Thank you for listening. From our Troubled Minds to yours, have a great night. Third hour Trouble Minds coming up. So what we're going to do is take a quick 2-minute break and yes, let the F-bombs commence. Now we can let our hair down a little bit and not be so stuck in the radio ways, which is the family programming of transhumanism and all the things that go bump in the night. Well, as much as it can be family programming. So there you go. So we will have the third hour coming up. If you want to be part of the show, we do have somebody on the line here. We'll take this phone call in just a bit. Austin, if you're there, I see you in the caller queue. Let me know. You got to tell me you're ready, bro. And I'll bring you in, and let's do it. So if you want to be part of the show, one more time, 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. Troubledminds.org. Phone number and the Discord link. Don't go anywhere. We're Troubled Minds in 2 minutes. 2-minute break. Be right back. All right, welcome back to Troubled Minds. I am your host, Michael Strange, and tonight we're talking about transhumanism. I found this nice little website called Dangerous Things, and you can right now order your RFID plus NFC chip implant. They will ship it to your doorstep with an installation kit, and you can install it yourself. Or actually, I was reading some of this. There's like the frequently asked questions, which is fascinating as hell, by the way. So if you're into this, I'm going to link this, and it's already linked in the chat down there. But if you they have a whole forum here where people are talking about these things, and I recommend it. If it reads some of this stuff, and they're recommending you get these things actually professionally installed, okay? Meaning that you probably shouldn't just do it yourself. You shouldn't just order this chip implant kit and just punch it in and say, all right, good to go. Like clap the hands together, rub some dirt on it. Good to go, guys. Good to go. So apparently, yeah, it's not as easy as just slapping it in like I was making it sound. And they suggest you get a professional to do this. So what that means, well, there's an entire frequently asked questions here. Like I said, if you guys want to check it out, I recommend it because why the hell not? And let's go. We got lots of folks here on the phone and waiting. So let's go to the phone. Let's actually that just dropped off. So let's go to Austin. Austin, what's up? Austin, welcome to the show. You are on Troubled Minds with Mike. How are you, my friend?
Better than most, worse than some.
All right.
How's it going?
Perfect. Not too bad. I can't complain. It's hard to complain. The bunker's on fire, but it's fake fire, so it's all good.
I've been listening.
Right on. Well, thank you. So what's on your mind? What do you think about this transhumanism stuff? Is this, again, right? Is it some sort of like, New World Order, Great Reset sort of thing? Or is it like, come on, Michael Strange, back off the ledge? Where do you stand here?
No, it's pretty much a part of it. I think it's one of the main things. It's like terraforming of the planet and duality, terraforming the people of the planet. So transhumanism right there.
Okay. So meaning, all right, elaborate a little bit, please.
Transforming humans through transforming their environment. And then also the other way around too.
Okay, so by actually controlling that reality, right? So we were talking sort of in terms of that, find the Pokemon earlier. So imagine if they're doing that, and it becomes like a perpetual thing. And so, like somebody said in the chat over there on Rockfin, what could go wrong with grown people chasing Pokemon in parking lots, right? As a persistent thing, that seems fine, right? I'm sure that's totally cool.
Now, I've had a few jobs I've worked at where we had employees completely wander off the job site because they were chasing Pokemon. And I don't think it's a good thing.
No, right? Exactly.
When they came back to talk about it, it's like they were losing brain cells as they were talking, and their work gradually got worse. We were like building a deck, and they just kept missing the holes while he's talking about Pokemon Go. Okay,
and so I think therein lies the changing our perception of reality, right? If it is a persistent thing, right? I mean, people have been known to get hit by cars and stuff because they were too into like catching the Pokemon, right? That they just walked out in the road sort of situation. So, I mean, this is real, and it can, if it can alter reality like that, at least in terms of where this leads next. I don't think this chip in particular can, not yet. But once again the technology gets better, upgrades, this, that, the other thing, it starts to become what? It starts to maybe tie into your brain somehow with the Neuralink stuff coming on board, not too long away. I don't know. I think this is probably where this will head, and we have a hard enough time right now just considering reality as it is. I mean, that's what this show's about, right? I mean, for crying out loud, we talk about vampires and werewolves and ghosts and shit, but we're trying to wrestle back reality from the reality like police. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's just what it is, man. And if this is where we're headed, it's one of those things that I think it's unfortunate. I think it's unfortunate that we will end up having to put these things in us to compete, to get jobs. And again, right, like you said, papers, please. You typed that in the chat earlier, and it's completely true. Like, let's not talk about the C word, like I said, because, well, trip the algorithms and get the fact checks. But the thing is, this is happening now. They're requiring things that are morally, let's say, ambiguous. Let's say that. And so as a result, well, if this is the next step for this, well, maybe you have to. Maybe you have to compete, to catch up, to keep up with your brethren, your job hunting folks. I don't know. There you go. Exactly. Bailey's got it right. Reality police, put away your imagination, step away from the headset. Exactly right.
Does the C word kind of sound like communism?
It sounds like yeah. Well, let's just say the C word is a worldwide pandemic. We'll just leave it at that. That's C word. Like
the Latin word for crown.
Right. Exactly that.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah. Exactly. Okay. So anyway,
or like the beer.
Right. So okay. So are you getting this? Have you ordered your chip yet? Is what I want to know.
No, I don't have enough transhumans yet to inject them with, or whatever. I'm not getting them. I was trying to think of a joke, but I missed the pun. So. Okay,
no problem. All right, so meaning that we've got a website here where we've got this stuff. You can order it right now. So that's what I'm asking. Are you going to be first in line here?
Oh, heck no.
Okay.
I'll be the last.
Okay. Kicking and screaming.
I'll put my neck to the chopping block first.
Kicking and screaming. All right.
Put my testicles in a garbage disposal.
All right. Fair enough.
It's the third hour.
Yeah, you're fine. All right. So what are your other thoughts here? You're making me work. What's going on? What are your thoughts on this?
I'm not going to do it. I see a lot of potential for it with kind of reminds me of the movie Idiocracy, with the tattoo. I don't think they're going to roll it out they might roll it out like this. Sometimes they kind of surprise me, since 2020 with how they handled their stuff, how they're so inconsistent with their restrictions that they're putting on us. None of it was fluid. It was all, well, if you're here, then it's this way. If you're over there, it's a little different. 10 people here, 11 people there. It's like nothing synchronizes. And that surprised me, because that tells me that it seems like desperation to me, and some people may disagree, but it just seemed like I had a way better idea of how to roll this stuff out. And I would think it would be more like wearables or like tattoos or the Google Watch thing, or maybe your Google Lens things, like all those things. Make it look cool to wear it, like turn it into a culture to be in it, and you're out of the cult if you're out of it, and then everybody that's out of it just has less ability, and then everyone just thinks you're cooler if you got this, and if you don't, you don't. And that would be the best way to roll it out, but it just seems like they're going right through the skin with all this stuff. It's like, really? Do they really have to do that? I don't think so at all, and I think it makes more polarity, more tension. Maybe that's what they're after. Maybe they really just want to piss people off and make them scared, because that's what it seems like to me.
Yeah, it could be. And so is it about control? I think many things today we can probably frame in the context of, technocratic control of not just the present, but the future. And so if that's the case, well, what do you think they're trying to control with this? Is it simply just reality? Is it to sell us more ads? Like, what do you think the end game is?
Yeah, probably.
What's the end game?
I think a lot of it has to do with the numbers guys at the table. They're like, all right, let's see how much more money we can make off of selling their data, build algorithm, target market, like targeting people with marketing advertisements specifically tuned to that person through the data that they've collected on them, and seeing how much you can get them to do just off of what you're learning on them through the advertisements that you turn onto them individually after you collect the data that you got from them. So I think the RFID thing would up the data that they could collect off of us, and then they would be able to make more invasive advertising. When people sometimes, you're like, oh, I broke a window, and then like ad pops on your phone, broken windows for sale at whatever, like that'll get even worse.
Exactly. And and that's targeted advertising, and they're doing it now, and it's more and more creepy every day anyway, without any of this stuff, without chips in anybody. And so that's what we're talking about. So at least that, and maybe some more nefarious things in the future. You're the best, Austin. Yeah. Anything else? What else you got on your mind tonight?
I just, before I drop the mic, I just wanted to say, I think that right there is probably the main thing, is the advertising. Because like you said yourself, it seems pretty spooky at first when you see it. You're like, whoa, like they're like definitely tracking like almost everything to figure out this much about me, right? And then a chip on top of that, like you're talking like mind control. Because if they're already at this point almost controlling our minds without it, and some people fully already, like, wow.
And that's where we're headed. Well, welcome to your dystopian future, sir. A brave new world, as it were.
Mic drop.
There you go, Austin. Everybody follow Austin. He's got a YouTube channel called Short Quick, and let me know when we can drop that link in the chat there, and we'll keep letting people know. Keep up the good work, my friend. Thank you for the calls, and thank you for being part of this, being part of the conversation, and thanks for being enthusiastic about it.
All right. May the force be with you and your listeners.
And you, sir. Thank you so much. All right. You're welcome to stay. Just go ahead and mute up if you want to listen from here. What's up? Let's go to Derek in Massachusetts, the Night Stalker. What's happening, my friend? How are you?
Good evening, Michael.
Well, hello. You sound different.
Today I actually received my microchip, and I don't know why everyone is so up in arms about it. It's wonderful. It's wonderful, Michael. The colors, Michael, they're amazing.
Whoa! Hey, come on, man. You sound really different. Did you really? Which version did you get?
Oh, I don't know. I went to this back alley and I received one of those do-it-yourself microchips, and now I feel wonderful. Everyone should be doing this, Michael. This is amazing. Oh, whoa, no. Oh, I'm back.
I'm back. Whoa.
Whoa, that was weird.
That was amazing.
Oh, jeez.
Okay, well, so apparently you found a way to turn it off. Maybe you can.
Yeah, I don't know what happened
on that.
Jeez.
What's up?
Everyone, be careful about where you're walking in big crowds. Like you might get tripped by accident. Whoa. All right. Sorry about that. You're good.
Right, welcome back. Welcome back, Derek. So what are your thoughts on this long term? Do you think this is going to be? What is that full spectrum control? Is it literally just about controlling our reality and then maybe reframing how we view that as people, or do you think it's something worse? What's the issue here?
I don't know. There's a lot on the table, obviously. This is kind of like another singularity where it's tough to really predict what happens once we start to like really get into this process, because like with the transhumanism, like with the body modifications and all that kind of stuff, it'll hit in such different ways. Like even with just technology now that we have, like those new like Facebook or Apple glasses, whatever company just released those glasses where you can like take video of everything you're seeing and stuff. that already is like priced out. Like I work at a supermarket, and I'm not going to be able to buy that anytime soon. You know, so that's already for the rich, and that's just like glasses. You know, so they're gonna make it enticing for us by giving it to like the rich and the elite first. They're gonna like give it to the culture creators first, so that like the ones that follow them will be like, oh well, look, Lady Gaga got some kind of like advanced vocal cord, and she can hit these crazy notes or whatever. Let me do that too, or some kind of weird sci-fi thing, you know. And they're gonna give it to the influencers first, so that we all get it. But then it's gonna be in waves. Like I wonder where like professional sports is going to go. Are we going to create leagues where some of the players have chips in their heads, so they're thinking like way faster than any players playing anything? Like the sophistication will just be cranked up a notch. Or are we going to have a league where some players have robotic limbs and they're like cyborg sports, like cyborg NBA and stuff? Like I don't know. It's almost impossible to really predict where it's going to go. But I think as far as like when is it going to happen, honestly, it's the sooner the better as far as they're concerned. Like, I don't know how Grimes is feeling about it right now, but like 6 months ago when she was still with Musk, she was tweeting with that rapper Lil Uzi Vert, who got that like giant Vision $24 million Vision diamond in his forehead to look like that Marvel character, that like Android Marvel character. And they were tweeting together, and she was like, "Yeah, like we got to get these microchips, like." We should aim for 2022, and then we can have the knowledge of the gods. You know, that's how she presented it. She, like they're gonna frame it like the reality you're going to be experiencing is going to be so much more than you can ever imagine if you're not hooked up to this in some capacity. If you're not with us, you're gonna be left behind. We're leaving you behind. Like I don't know. Obviously, like there's gonna be a contingency, a huge one, hopefully, that decides to go a more natural route, but a lot of people are going to feel like, I don't know, it's the same way people will do crazy stuff to get the newest iPhone. I can't imagine the same thing is not going to happen when this becomes more normalized. We have celebrities doing it, and then people are going to be like, I have to get my chip, or I'm an idiot. You know, it's dark, scary stuff.
Yeah, and I do like the Grimes angle there with the knowledge of the gods. Is that what this is?
Exactly.
This is
exactly.
Like okay, so like Jennifer was saying earlier, it's like it seems like a good thing, right? It's going to increase your memory. It's supposed to do all these things, right? Like the Neuralink, it could, imagine, like you said, and I think this is a little bit more dystopian in exactly where this is headed. Like you described, is there going to be different leagues for like different like implants? Like imagine, so right, like you play basketball. I play basketball,
yep.
Right? Like there's like it's physics. It's right. It's like the hand-eye coordination in sync or not in that particular moment. Because right, imagine if you were robotic and you could sync that sucker every time, and the only thing that makes it so people can't, right, is that perception of how far away the hoop is, how fast they're moving, right, the physics involved basically, and then how on or off you are, like they say on fuego, right, like Steph Curry's on fire, right, because he's locked in.
Exactly.
Right?
He's on fire.
Exactly. He's on fire like this. He's on fire. But he's locked in, and because his hand-eye coordination is locked into his spatial perception, and everything is in perfect tune, right? Exactly. And so imagine, like exactly like you described, if that's the case, and that's all this is between, sloppy human imperfection and robotic sort of perfection. Maybe that's the next step. Maybe people stop missing free throws.
I mean, there's already like a big group of like baseball fans who aren't all that against PEDs. Like there's a lot of like the OG like baseball purists are like, get that stuff out of baseball. But a lot of people my age are like, no, I want to see people hit home runs. I mean, they'd be down to watch a league of people who are all juicing, and that's like a real small like example. But imagine, I would assume a lot of people would be down to have people to watch NBA games where people have robot legs and they're doing dunks from the half court line and stuff. It's like slam ball with no trampolines, just like trampoline legs. It'd be wild. But like, yeah, I'm not sure. It's like everything bad about the internet. Like obviously, there's a lot of like great stuff that we could get out of transhumanism, I guess, if you couldn't walk, or if you had different senses were not to where you would want them to be. Obviously, then some kind of upgrade could be beneficial. But then just like Same way with the internet. It's connecting us. It's doing a lot of great stuff, but the internet is a giant cesspool too. There's a lot of bad stuff on the internet. So just the internet being connected directly to a human's brain, I can't imagine, like, I don't know, like it could go dark really, really quickly. You know, for at the beginning, like, wow, I have the knowledge of everything in the world. I have the knowledge of all the internet. But look what happened to that AI that we gave the internet to. It became a monster, like, immediately. You know, I don't know if getting a direct line of the internet injected into your brain is really the best thing for a human brain. You know. Like,
yeah, and like Jennifer said too, at some point maybe it can't even handle it. Like
exactly.
How would you parse that? Like, how would you even stop or turn it off? And I think that's part of the danger here. Long term is that we don't even know what this stuff means yet. But
yeah, exactly.
It's like, okay, well, you know, let's do it. This should be fine, right? This should be cool.
Yeah.
Like there's going to be no problem. Look, Ma, I can make free throws. I'm not even watching.
I know, exactly.
Right? Like this is fine. There's no problem here. Yeah.
There's going to be people who want that too, for sure. And there's going to be people who, like, I would want to watch that game. Like sometimes if I'm playing 2K, I'll turn all my sliders up so I'm hitting every three. You know, it's fun for a minute, you know, but obviously, like, culturally, it might not be the best thing, but it's not sure. But like, yeah, there's people behind me, so I'll let them hop in. But great call to everyone. Really, really cool show, Mike.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Great stuff as always. Follow the Night Stalker. Links down in the description. He doesn't have a channel just yet, anything on there, but follow him to inspire him. Maybe he'll be inspired to create. Thank you, my friend. You're the best.
Oh, thank you, dude.
Get that chip looked at.
I will. Later.
Right. Thanks, bro. All right. So we're still talking about this stuff. We're talking about transhumanism. We're talking about this website, Dangerous Things, how you can literally just order a chip right now, NEXT RFID plus NFC chip implant, have it shipped to your door and installed today. Well, maybe not today. Sometime this week. Assuming the supply chain issue gets sorted out. I can't speak to their in-stock situation. But, great call from Derek. And we got some folks on the phone. We got Tam Bam. Still taking your calls. What do you guys think about this? Again, like I said, I didn't realize it was so commercially available. I guess you just got to know where to look. And that tells you where my brain's at, where I'm not really into maybe buying one of these things. But what are your thoughts? What does the future hold? Do you see a future, at least in our lifetime, where this is going to be required? Just to maybe not just compete like we were discussing with the NBA and basketball and whatever else, right? Hand-eye coordination, etc. But what about competing with people for jobs? What about, sorry, Mike, you don't have one of these things, and so you can't type 700 words a minute, so you just lost out. Nice knowing you. Come back when you can compete, Mike. Right, and is that where this is headed? So you tell me. Anyway, so let's. We got some phone calls, and we're going to keep on trucking. 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. Let's go back to Jay Winch. What's up, brother? Jay Winch, welcome back.
Hey, man, give me a second. I'm going to turn my phone up a little bit, turn my speakerphone off, because I've been listening.
Perfect.
And here I am.
All right. Welcome back to the show. What else you got, man? What else you want to add here?
So I'm going to drop the F-bomb.
Go right ahead.
And the reason I'm going to say I'm going to drop the fucking F-bomb is because we have Neuralink right now. And the reason I say it, everybody on this show, everybody in the chat that knows who I am, what is 512 gigs of memory? That's a whole shit ton of memory, right?
Yeah.
Yes, no. 502. That little chip is the size of your pinky nail, and you can insert it in your phone. If you want to learn something today, whether it's a language, how to do math, science, the periodic table, how to do anything, you have 512 gigs that you can download. Put it into you talking to yourself. For instance, I want to learn to speak Spanish. Uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, seis. You know what I'm saying, right?
Cinco, seis.
Speaking Spanish, you want to speak numbers.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but I'm saying, if you do that takes, like, you could speak from 1 to 1 million, and you would take maybe 1/10 of a gig. You still have 511 gigs worth of memory. You put that on your phone, like a lot of people in the chat spent 2 hours in chat. And those 2 hours, if you were to download information you want to learn, how to rebuild your car, how to replace your brakes, how to grow fruits and vegetables. I mean, transhumanism now is all you have to do is unlock it yourself and not put the chip in your head. Put the chip in your phone or something like that and just put wireless, not wireless, but a speakerphone to your one ear and go to work. Because how many people pay attention to people at work? I mean, honestly, I don't pay attention to nobody at work. I just go do my job and do my thing and listen to music. Instead of listening to music, let's learn how to speak French or Spanish or this, or let me rework my mathematics so I can balance my checkbook.
or reconfigure the redshift and the universal expansion. Anyway, so point.
Yeah,
point.
But you see what I'm saying, though.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
like you can put 500 gigs of data in your cell phone. Anything you want to learn is right there.
Yeah, and so what you're talking about
and then
is
once you download it from your computer and put it on there, you can turn your phone off completely. Turn off all data, everything, and have the only thing it's running is that chip. It's right there, and you're putting it in your ear and learning it.
Right, and you're talking about
that's the only way we're going to beat AI. And the reason I say that is because they say when you're growing up, you remember when you're young, like I'm talking elementary school, middle school, you learn so much stuff then because your brain was a sponge. And then your brain was filled with TV, pop propaganda, and all this other bullshit to keep you from being who you truly can be.
Amen, brother. Amen. We're gonna.
And the reason I say that,
AJ Winch.
And the reason I say that, I mean, like, yeah, go ahead.
Let's just final thought. We got folks behind you as well. This is your second call tonight, so we got to keep this one a little shorter. But go ahead. The final thought here, and then we'll keep on trucking. We got HB behind you. We got Tam Bam over on Discord as well. So got to share the love, man. Share the love.
I will. Final thoughts. We can beat AI and we can beat transhumanism. We just have to do it properly. Elon Musk warned about it.
Yeah, he still
What's
is.
your thoughts on that?
He still is. All right. You're the best. Thank you, Jay Winch. Appreciate the phone call. Thanks for listening. Thanks for sharing your ideas here. Have a fantastic night, bro. All right. So taking your phone call, 702-957-1037. Thanks for being cool with each other and sharing the airwaves here. Let's go to HB. Hang tight, Tam. We'll be right with you. HB, welcome back. What's on your mind, my brother?
Oh, my goodness. Well, that was such a wonderful... Is he a Floridian, our last talker?
Texas, I believe.
Well... sorry, there was a pause there. Whom you believe?
Texas, I believe.
Oh, Texas. You know, Texas is a great state. It's large, not as big as Alaska. Anyways, so transhumanism, my man, this was the major topic of the whole night, right?
You got it.
Humanism?
You got it, yep.
This is what I have. This is what I got to put forth about transhumanism. I don't think you're going to meet anybody in the Western or the Eastern worlds, North or South, who are going to really put forth the sort of dialect that's necessary to criticize transhumanism in a fundamental manner. And by fundamental, I mean in a way that means you're detached from it. You can't, and I mean criticizing it in a way that you aren't fundamentally compromised because you're part and parcel of the thing you're trying to criticize. And I think the only time we'll find word places, speech, imprints of words on things are going to be and these now melting down Antarctic spots, and maybe some Arctic spots, but I doubt it. Antarctic spots and some other deep things dug down into the terrestrial worlds where people were hiding out. Large pockets of people were hiding out from the ice ages, from the Dry ice. You know, I think, and aside from those written records that are predecessors to records, so we call them prehistory, they existed before anything was written. I think that all of these people who so far tonight have talked about this subject of the transhumanism, I think they've been so far up their asses that you might as well not have asked them. They've all gone off for this or that thing.
Hey, stop.
All right. Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah. All right.
Why?
Yeah.
Like, you want me to tell you you're so far up your own ass too? Stop. Look, how hard is it to just tell us what you think about a topic? Look, wait. How hard is it to just tell us what you think about a topic without shitting on all the other callers? Please don't do that. That's not welcome here. All right? I don't give a damn who you are or how smart you are.
All right.
Okay? Please reframe and continue. Right. Thank you.
Yep.
Continue, please.
Well, no, I mean, well, what I would say would be better framed as like, how are we supposed to couch our topics? Okay, we have so many different things that are different culturally, personally, and even temporally. I mean, like some people, because they come from a couple generations different than some other people that they know, they have to deal with a lot of temporal things too, where we're looking like, okay, so yeah, your grandpa did this and my grandpa did that, and you're looking at like your grandpa and their grandpa are like 150 years different. You know, there's so many different cultural differences. I'm not saying that cultural differences are bad. I'm saying that our ability to actually communicate to each other has ground down to a halt so much that as soon as you really tie into the brakes of it, it grinds to a sudden and complete halt where nobody wants to hear anybody talk. All anybody wants to hear is somebody saying stop.
Okay, meaning, I'm not sure what you mean there.
Well, I was just commentating on what happened just between us in the last few moments. But going back to what I was saying, that the cultures that exist on Earth, none of them are really necessarily more advanced or less advanced than another. But there are all a lot of people who want to say that, yeah, they're pulling it off way better than anybody else. Well, why don't we look at what's actually been going on? Why don't we look at what's actually happened in the last couple of 100 years? And it hasn't been all of what everybody's been telling us.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm getting an echo. I'm sorry.
Thanks for the call. All right, if you guys want to be part of the show, 702-957-1037. Like I said, there's literally one rule, guys. Literally one rule, right? You're allowed to believe whatever you want. This is not church, all right? You can believe whatever the hell it is you want. But don't crap on other callers or anybody else in the chat. Period. That's the only damn rule, all right? So that's it. Like, you want me to lose my patience instantly? That's how you do it, all right? Now, HB, I know, probably a little bit off the rails there. That's fine, all right? I forgive you. Come back next time and reframe it, and don't speak in terms of what somebody else said and they don't know what the hell they're talking about. Just tell me what you think, right? Like, if you want to say, hey, this is what I think about the topic at hand, do it. But you can do that without crapping on other people. It's a super simple thing and a super simple concept, and literally it's rule number 1. That's the only rule we have here. Right? Other than don't curse on the radio in the first 2 hours, right? That's it. That's it. Don't crap on other people. Don't curse on the radio. It's not that hard. All right? There you go. All right. So anyway, if you guys want to be part of the show, 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. And we'll put you on the show. We're still talking about this. Now, look, there's a lot to read here. Tam Bam, if you want to be part of this, I saw you there, and I asked you in the chat if you were ready. Let's see. Put it down because I missed so much time waiting. Can't hear anything. If you want to hop back in there, I'll put you on, and you can catch up. Sorry about that, Tam. Thanks for being patient with us. There we go. What's up? David says, this isn't a Clyde Lewis show. No hating here. Yeah, come on. It doesn't have to be like that. It just doesn't have to be like that. Okay, so it's fine. Yeah. Oh, yeah, there we go. Todd, always the critic. What's up, Todd? OG Todd. Still, right? You can say, look, I disagree with many of the previous callers and tell me what you think, right? It's you don't have to say everybody had their head so far up their ass. Well, okay. Well, sorry. Well, I could just say you have your head so far up your ass, Like, again, there's ways to handle this and not be anyway. There we go. All right. So there we go. I'm going to leave it at that, and I'm not going to bring it up again. But literally, if you want to get my goat instantly, that's how you do it. You come at the other people that called in or in this chat, and that's it. All right. It's don't get my goat. Let's go to Tam Bam. Tam Bam, welcome to the show. Can you hear me? Test 1 2. Oh, no. Problem. Test 1 2. Already there. Nope. All right. I'm gonna bump down to the other queue here. Here we go. We'll just do it this way. What's up, Tam? Welcome to the show.
Oh shit, that was loud. How are you guys?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. I'm irritated that people have to shit on everybody or slander other people for their opinion, but what are you going to do? There's always one.
That's okay. We'll move on. We'll move on from that.
Yeah. Well, I have so much to say because people who called in, and I was reading the chat as well, that everybody is their minds are just amazing. They just go, you have one topic and their minds go into these tangents, and they mention things that you wouldn't even think of, which I thought was really, really amazing. So, I mean, I can't remember all the names of the callers, but they were just so fantastic. And, I love this group so much. But there's something I want to bring from my side and my perspective, regarding transhumanism is, if you take a look at the beauty industry and anti-aging and how, listen, it's very easy to manipulate a female in their 30s to 60s or wherever to de-age, and introducing some kind of technology where there's a transhumanism issue, or not issue, but thing that you can do to de-age essentially. I mean, you've got a winning product. The beauty industry is a $500 billion industry, and really that is where the money lies. So if you really want to become rich, introduce something like that. If you want to control these people, I mean, that's the way to go. And, firstly, let's take a look at Botox. It was such faux pas back in the day, but it's like part of a mother's grocery list now. Got to get this. Okay, Botox is on the list so kids can eat bread, for the rest of the month kind of thing. I'm kidding. But, that's how it's become. It's become a part of your life. And I just find it so fascinating that you have all these devices, you have all these machines, you have all these things. And if you introduce something that's more on a humanism, or however you say it, side, that these women will buy into it and they will forget about their humanity just for the sake of keeping young forever. These women, husbands, are the ones making the money. The women, the home, the mothers, they're the ones who're spending it. And they will make every bloody excuse on the planet to get what they need to look younger forever, or younger for longer. It's simple math. So that is my take.
Okay, and so you think this is where it's headed? Like, you think there's no way around it? Everybody's going to dive right into the to the situation with the enhancements, and it's going to be too, like, intoxicating. It's going to be too good to pass up, and people are going to just buy in hook, line, and sinker, and just be injecting these things directly right off the bat. That's what we're looking at, right?
Well, I'm not saying it's going to be like that for everybody. I'm just saying that's one faction of it. That's one. These moms, these women who want to just keep looking younger forever, using any means possible. If you're going to sell them on TV or through a doctor saying this little chip will keep your human growth hormone levels so high that you will look 20 years younger forever. Do you not think that will sell? I think that will sell like crazy.
Hell yeah, it will.
And that was my point.
Hell yes, it will. And people will gobble it up. People will gobble that up. Yeah, 100%.
Exactly.
100%.
So if you take a step back and you look at the last 50 years, if you really just take a look at it, over the years, it's been always like little drops of seed of information. Oh, this is what we're doing and this is what we're heading. I mean, if you take a look at the vaccine, the elites are probably thinking, well, shit, the vaccine rolled out, the whole world is taking part. Fuck, that was easy. What's next? RFID chip. And they've been planting that seed of the RFID chip for how long now? So all they're going to do is make it so deliciously tasteful, like, oh, you can actually measure with your RFID chip and your bionic eye, measure the distance between half court and swish, and you'll make it. They make it look so fantastic and so essential, like it needs to be a part of your life, like a damn dishwasher, that you'll do it. You'll take it. And they won't even think about, shit, like Jennifer mentioned, they won't even think about the solar flares, how could it affect you? Or if there's a lightning storm, shut you down first, you know? So my point is, all I got to do is outrun that moron with the chip. And I'll be safe. But unfortunately, that's where the world is heading. Because 50 years from now, we're not going to be in the same boat as we are in now. We're not going to be living in the same reality as we are living now. It wasn't like us 50 years ago. It's not going to be like us 50 years from now. It is unfortunately inevitable. And Dolores Cannon, she has this whole thing about how the earth is going to be split into, and there's going to be people who are ascend to 5D, and then there's going to be the second earth it's going to be third dimensional reality. And what if we just don't look at it literally and look at it figuratively and just say, okay, well, the bionic people with chips and the contact lenses that could measure temperature or whatever the case is, that is the third dimensional level, staying technology, staying down on Earth. And the 5D ascension people, those are the people who truly just want to stay as human as possible. And that is the split of the Earth. There is going to be two Earths.
The old the elites and everybody else, right? The classes that can and the classes that can't.
Well, this is the thing as well. I mean, if you take a look at the elites, we are just numbers to them. We are a game. Like Squid Game, we are just, they can't go and shoot elephants and shoot this anymore. What else can they do? They're so fucking bored. They use humans as play toys, as playthings, as betting. Because what else are you going to do with your money? You can't buy a bigger mansion. There's only like 1 or 3 of you in that house. So what the fuck else are you going to do? You're going to bet on something that's full of risk. You're going to do something that's immoral. And you're going to make people want to participate because you have everything, they have nothing. And if you dangle a carrot and say, if you do this, your family will step. I mean, the possibilities of this shit is endless. It's never going to stop. We'll always be fighting for just to stay as human as possible, to stay as organic as possible.
And I think that's the craziest part, right? And in doing so, you're actually becoming less human and less organic as possible in the chase. The chase becomes exactly what we're talking about, is that the transhuman bit becoming kind of locked into that digital whatever, the digital reality. And not just that, well, kind of everything else. It piles on top of itself, and here we are. Here we are wondering. 50 years is a good sort of maybe way to look out at this and say 50 years from now, this thing I have up on the screen, will microchipped implants in humans become mandatory, may not be too much of a stretch. And, well, welcome to it. Welcome to the world, right? It's unfortunate.
There are people who have already done that. In Norway, I think there was this woman, was it Norway or somewhere up there? It's like it's common. You do this, and they swipe their little hand against their when they go home, and the door opens, and they swipe it against their car, and their car opens. And then I was talking about the bionic eye, but it was more contact lens. So you put this contact lens in your eyes, and not only does it make you see 50 times better, okay, that's a great benefit, but what it also does is it calculates it. If you're in the kitchen and you've got, okay, I've got chicken and I've got cheese and I've got this and I've got that, it literally throws up in your the contact lens a recipe that you can make from all these foods. So you essentially, we have become a chef, not having any skill, no training whatsoever. You can literally do this shit, and you cheat coding. It's such a cheat. So skills are going to be out the window, and it's just going to be automatic feed. We're going to get dumber and dumber and dumber over the years.
Well, unfortunately, I hope that's not the case, but we're already headed there for sure, 100%. Yeah, fantastic stuff, Tam. Thank you so much. What else? What we got Rohan right here behind you. So, what's your final thought?
No, let him go.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna bump us into the other thing here so we don't get hijacked. But so thank you for the phone call, and let's see if I can bring you in, and let's do this. 1 second. Let's see. 1 moment. Hello. Here we go. Test 1 2. Hello. Everybody there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mike.
All right. Welcome. What's up, Rohan? Thanks, Tam. Great thoughts as always, and I think you're right. I think it's unfortunate that this may be the future. Rohan, the famous Liam Martin. Welcome to the show. How you doing, my man?
Thanks, Brother. Yeah. Nice little introduction there. But yeah, some great calls today, and there's some real food for thought here. So I wrote, as usual, I've got my notepad out and put a few little points down that I wanted to make.
Sure, go right ahead. Go right ahead, sir.
Okay, yeah, so, well, this is, it seems like we're getting towards that kind of, that bit right before we start to get into the Matrix world. We're coming into that, aren't we, where that kind of stuff starts to get possible. All right, it seems we're getting there, and I think Jay Winch was kind of talking about it, and Tambaum's just mentioned it, and it reminds me of that, do you remember the film with Keanu Reeves? It was like a precursor to The Matrix. There's a film called Johnny Mnemonic. You ever seen that film?
I've never seen it, but I know which film you're talking about.
You know the premise. So basically the premise is that he's like a courier, but he delivers data, and so he's got a chip in his head, but it can only store so much. But he has to collect this package, and it turns out the file's bigger than what his drive can take. So he has to grab it anyway because it all kind of goes wrong. But because he's got too much capacity, his brain's having to compensate for it. And the premise of that was that will kill you. So he's gradually dying, so he's got to try and get his memory out of his head. And it's sort of like the precursor of that. And I was thinking, well, like the Terminator stuff with John Connor and the Resistance, we've got that kind of thing. You'd have to, like the latest Terminator does it, where they start using some kind of robotics, a little bit of it, so they can soup themselves up a bit without going full robot, so they can fight them a little bit. And I'm thinking, well, then you can kind of, I'm trying to imagine what it would be like. I'm thinking you could kind of have your little SD card then, and you get your orders by a download or do you know what I'm saying? And the tactics for that and the skills that you need, and maybe the tactics for that mission are on a timer, so they'll delete. So if you don't complete the mission, the enemy won't know what, programs you've got, sort of thing. And I think it gets you into that sort of world, doesn't it? And I'm thinking, like you say, if can you get lost in it and be tricked to think that you're not in it anymore? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, and it gets into that real Matrix zone, so it can be quite worrying. But like you say, on the other hand, if you need a skill quickly, you need a recipe, like Tam just mentioned, you can just pull the recipe up. So that could be really handy. But then, like you say, who remembers all of the phone numbers? Like you used to have to in the past. I think it can make you lazy and complacent, right?
Right. But who will remember all the phone numbers? That needs to be a T-shirt. I love it. But I get the example, and it also it stretches out to 1,000 other things. Like there's a lot of that we'll forget, that we can't right? Again, right? I'm sure you remember your childhood phone number, right? I sure do. I still do.
Yeah.
But can I tell you all the other in my phone? Of course not, right? Because, well, we don't have to anymore. We're spend our time creating things instead. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's what I say. Well, we see a vision of this exact thing in it's in season 7, Stargate episode 5, season 7. It's a bit of a spoiler for this one, but there's an episode called Revisions, and they've literally find a planet that it's all toxic. The atmosphere is toxic, but there's a bubble a couple of kilometers across, like 500 meters high, where it's all nice atmosphere. There's a force field holding back the toxic atmosphere. And what it is an advanced race, as humans, they're cool. What they've done this, and they all wear these little like Bluetooth things, like on the side of the head. And so they can just pull up whatever information they need as and when. So it's great. So they're very smart, it's all good and that. But every now and again, there's an update, and it makes everybody freeze, right? And what's happening is the planet's toxic, and the force field's running out of power. So every now and then, periodically, it has to keep reducing the power and make the force field a bit smaller. So it freezes everyone, does an update, and if somebody walks, and like people are disappearing, getting caught outside of the force field where it's running out of power, so it will jump down a few feet, and someone will get killed in the poison toxic. So in the update, it'll delete everybody's memory of that person. So they always think everything's fine, but in reality, the computer's giving them false readings. Do you know what I'm saying? And the world is getting smaller and smaller, and they're all going to die. So the this SG-1 crew have to kind of point out to him, no, you keep freezing up and stopping, and the whole town's stopping, and it's deleting, and they have to show him, look, you have to, and they have to take their own video cameras and record it, deleting information, and show him on the video, look, the information used to be there. You used to know Mr. Johnson. He was your friend, and now you don't know who he is because he's dead, because you just, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, it gets a bit scary, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think so, and there's a lot of ways this can go and will go, and that's the question tonight is exactly that and everything else regarding these implants. Do you think at some point this will be mandatory? And if so, what's your guess? What's your guess on how soon?
Well, I think that's it. Well, the how soon I think is right now. But in terms of, I think I agree with the Night Stalker talking about that in terms of the way they'll do the marketing. So they'll do the marketing to make it a commodity, to try and encourage you to want it. But at the same time, with lots of stuff that's going on in the world last couple of years, it seems like there's a rush job. So it's a shotgun wedding. There's a schedule to be kept to for some reason. So it seems a bit rushed. You know what I'm saying? So even if it looked good and was well tested, would you still want it? Because like I say, I've said it before, and so I think somebody who called in earlier said it as well, that the implications of the technologies, you don't start to sort of see the true potential of it until later on. So if you start implementing it and just go with it, we will think of it on the sort of basic levels, but there are other people, and some of us will see the further potentials for it, and people have already took it. They've already gone in and committed to it, and then it's like crap. Do you know what I mean? Like if you start gene editing people, and you haven't got an original master copy, and it turns out your gene editing's got flaws, you've changed the whole race. Everybody's screwed now. You can't afford to do that.
Yeah, well, and unfortunately, like Tam was describing, I think this is that future. I think that the chase will be too intoxicating. There'll be too much to go after that seems too good to be true. And, like we humans tend to just throw out our common sense, right? When you're like, this is just too good to be true, right? Now, only $799.99, and I improve, this, that, and the other thing, and I'm making free throws without even watching now, like things like this, right? What are you giving up? And is there a long-term consequence and all the rest of this? And that's what's on my mind about all this stuff. Yeah. So have you
social impacts as well? Like the Olympics. What happens with the Olympics? Is there two separate Olympics now for people with super duper cybernetic implants, and then the regular Olympics? And which ones have more value? The high numbers of the high jump that can go 100 meters high, or is it the guy that can do it without the stuff, who can do it, a lot less, but which is weird, isn't it? It's weird to think about.
Yeah, 100%. And this will ruin a lot of things, of course, right? But it's it's for the benefit of humanity. It's the future. It's where we're going to get better. We're going to get better.
Experts say.
Yeah. Bailey's got it right. I think there won't be a regular Olympics. It's just going to be whoever's juicing the most and like whoever has the best implants is what it's going to turn into. Even though, right, they have the Olympic board that's supposed to be super strict on doping and all that stuff. It gets ridiculous. It just gets ridiculous. Okay, so let's finish this up. So what is your thought? So clearly you've ordered your implant, right? Is it on the way right now?
Yeah, ordered 100 of them so I could smash them all up and live stream it. So I can't wait till they're out.
Okay. All right. So that's the deal, and that's what we're going to do here, and we're going to continue talking about this stuff because that's what we do on Troubled Minds. And of course, right, always beware the individual selling things that seems too good to be true. And I think when you start looking at this in terms of maybe enhancing people, I think that's where we're at. And so buyer beware, as it were. And there you go. So. Anything else from Tam or Austin or Rohan? Anybody else before we finish this up?
I've got a bit to say, but it's very dark, and there's a lot of words that I can't mention online. So I think when we do the after chat, it's something I'll talk about. But I won't do it online now. I'm just too scared you're going to get bumped.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Fair enough. Perfect. Austin, final thought here.
That's all the more reason. That's why everyone should come to the after party and hear what Tam Bam has to say.
There you go. Join the Discord if you have not. Troubledminds.org. Click the Discord link and you'll get a direct invite. Come say hi. Come meet all these fine folks. All right. Anything else, Austin?
Yes. Be sure.
Hey,
be strong.
Be true.
All right.
Yeah.
We're about to.
We're all saying it together.
We're all saying it together now. Don't do that because they're going to be like, "I told you it's a cult. I told you." don't be
sure. Be strong.
We were messing with them the whole time.
Don't do that, guys. Don't do that, guys. All right. Anyway, so let's wrap this up. Rohan, anything else? I'm gonna play some outro music and let's do this. It's GTFO. It is that time.
We commit our souls to Stovercore. That's a Cleon one. That's not part of a call. I just like sci-fi.
Okay. All right. Perfect. All right. So the way this works is the bad news is we are finished for the night. The good news is, God willing, we have tomorrow, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 7 p.m. Pacific. So we'll be back tomorrow night with more Troubled Minds, God willing. And of course, as we wind it up here and finish, think about this. What are your thoughts on this? And we'll bring this back again at some point and consider the implications here and what this means for the future and see what happens when the technology starts to be released. That's what this is all about. So there we go. Like I said, everybody here said, Tam and Austin and Rohan. By the way, follow Rohan's podcast, please. It's called Exiled Minds. Scroll down, EMP, Exiled Minds Podcast. Link in the description. Follow Tam Bam on Instagram. Follow Short Quick on YouTube. Friends here at the show. And there we go. And also spread the word about Troubled Minds. If you like this and you like the conversation, we're going places. I feel it. It feels a little hot in here. You know what I'm saying? Like we're headed in a particular direction, and it's a good thing. And don't worry about the fire. It's simulated, and I'm safe. Thank you for caring. And as we finish, there we go. Be sure, be strong,
be true.
Be true.
Thank you guys for listening. From our Troubled Minds to yours, have a great
good night.
We got fruit punch.
Fruit punch. All right, I'm going to move you guys out as I play it and finish this. Catch you over there in the after chats. See you in a bit.